You know, I have seen a lot of King of the Ring tournaments over the years, and this was the 23rd King of the Ring tournament, a tournament that goes all the way back to 1985. Don Morocco, you remember him, right? The Magnificent One himself, Don Morocco, beat the Iron Sheik in the finals of that tournament. 1993, the first time King of the Ring was brought to pay-per-view. It was the night that Bret Hart had to run through 3 different men in one night to become King of the Ring. King of the Ring tonight was the first under Triple H, and it gave us a final of Gunther and Randy Orton one-on-one for the first time ever, Raw versus SmackDown, in the finals to crown a #1 contender for the respective title of their brand at SummerSlam. Triple H made the announcement on Thursday. It took him long enough. I've been asking about this for weeks, and we only found out 2 days before the show that the winner of the King of the Ring and the winner of the Queen of the Ring would not only get a crown, but would go on to challenge for the respective world title of their brand at SummerSlam this year. The way that it should be. I've been saying it for a while now. As the Royal Rumble is to WrestleMania, that is what SummerSlam and the King of the Ring, Queen of the Ring, that is the synergy those two shows should have. I didn't know if they were going to pull it off because we still have a ways to go before we get to SummerSlam. We've got Clash at the Castle. We've got Money in the Bank. We still have time before then. But I was very happy to hear Triple H make that announcement the other day. And now we know who those two individuals are going to be heading into SummerSlam this year. It is going to be Gunther with a win over Randy Orton in this tournament. You know, from the moment that Gunther showed up on Raw about a month ago, and he first declared himself. He was the first man to declare for the King of the Ring tournament because they had no qualifying matches. You were just able to declare yourself. And he said that he is going to go on to win the tournament and challenge for the title of his choosing, whether it was the World Heavyweight title or maybe he would go back after the Intercontinental title. So clearly, this is before Triple H had fleshed out exactly what the winner of these tournaments was going to receive, because he said that and we never heard another word about it. But from day one, it felt like this tournament was his to lose. He lost at WrestleMania. And you could debate about whether or not that was a good idea or not. The best part about it is that it got the Intercontinental title off of him so that he could begin his journey to the World Heavyweight title. And so it seemed like, without even knowing all the names in the tournament, from day one, it was preordained that Gunther was going to go all the way and win this thing and go on to bigger and better things. And then we saw Randy Orton and AJ Styles, and Ilya Dragunov made his debut in the tournament. And you looked at these brackets, and some of the matches that we got were tremendous. In fact, in the same night, we got Gunther and Sheamus and Ilya Dragunov against Ricochet, which I would argue were the two best matches in the entire tournament. Two best matches of either tournament. And they both took place on the same episode of Raw in the same night. One thing I'm grateful for in Triple H bringing these tournaments, I say back. I mean, we really only had one other Queen of the Ring type tournament. It was really King of the Ring. One thing I'm happy about that Triple H did, who Vince McMahon had his way of doing things. He didn't really like tournaments to begin with. He was never a King of the Ring guy after it died off in 2002. I think that much is obvious. And I don't remember the last time we had a tournament that was really worthy of caring about, or that was treated with any sort of real value or reverence. You know, we're used to seeing Sheamus and Wade Barrett and Baron Corbin. You know, they would win King of the Ring. They'd wear a crown. They'd have a robe. They'd wear a scepter. And they would walk around like cartoon characters, calling themselves king. It was the worst thing that could happen to you. Go ask Sheamus. Go ask Corbin. King Corbin, right? How'd that work out for him? It was a joke. King of the Ring was a joke. And I'm happy now that King of the Ring is no longer a joke. They've attached real value to it now. The matches, the quality of the matches that we got here in this tournament, for the most part, was excellent. It really felt like they were fighting for something here in these things. And I hope that that continues in the years to come. I would like to see this become an annual thing. And look, there is an argument to be made, and I heard from a couple of people who said this. And I'm not going to, shout them down or anything like that, because I think it's a valid point. There are some people who feel differently, and they feel that, well, they don't like the fact that you have a world title match up for grabs at SummerSlam in these tournaments, because it takes away the ability to take a person, let's say like a Tiffany Stratton or a Braun Breaker, somebody who is on the ascent, and crown them. And that could be a real achievement for them on their resume, and it could launch them into star status on the roster. That's a completely different way to use these tournaments, and I'm not opposed to that either. I'm not even saying that would be a terrible idea. But what I think the better way to go is to attach real stakes to these tournaments. I like what Triple H did. I hope it sticks, and I hope we see more of that in the future. Now, Gunther wins the crown. He's moving on to SummerSlam. He's got his ticket punched to a World Heavyweight title match. On the women's side, it came down to Nia Jax, and it came down to Bird Girl, as I call her, and she had her wings, right? She's like Red Bull. She had her wings, and it was Lyra Valkyria, the underdog, that nobody thought really honestly had a shot, going up against Nia Jax. Lyra Valkyria, who was not even on the main roster a month ago, earned her way into the finals of this tournament, only to fall at the feet and the ass of Nia Jax. Nia Jax is going on to SummerSlam. She will now challenge whoever the WWE Women's Champion will be, which I am sure come SummerSlam is going to be Bayley. But it was the right move to make. The only thing that surprised me, I mean, look, they went with one winner from Raw, one winner from SmackDown, but they had two heels go over. And that was one of the themes about the show tonight, is that it was a very heel-heavy night. You had Gunther go over as a heel. You had Nia Jax go over as a heel. WWE, generally speaking, does not like doing that. They like to divide things up evenly. In any tournament like this they've done before, look at the men's and women's Royal Rumble matches going back to 2018, since they started doing male and female. It's always a split or baby faces going over. Maybe that's a sign of this new era that we hear so much about with Triple H. But I have no issue with the winners that they went with. I actually think the right people won here. You could have made the argument for Randy Orton. Everybody's already fantasy booking a Randy Orton-Cody Rhodes feud and a match for SummerSlam possibly. Well, guess what? Even though he didn't win tonight, that doesn't mean that Randy Orton can't still wrestle Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. And judging from the competition that Cody has on SmackDown, they may not have a choice but to do Cody and Randy, because the well is pretty fucking dry right now on the SmackDown side when it comes to number one contenders for Cody to work with for the WWE title. So just because Randy Orton lost tonight does not mean that he is not going to necessarily be out of the title picture come SummerSlam time. So just remember that if you are disappointed in that finish. But it was a heel night, not for the main event, though, which was Cody Rhodes defending the undisputed WWE Championship against one Logan Paul. The last time Logan Paul challenged for the WWE Championship was in Saudi Arabia. It was against Roman Reigns a few years ago at Crown Jewel. And he went out there with Roman Reigns. Didn't work out too well for Logan Paul that night. Didn't work out too well for him tonight either. But much like that match with Roman, he went out and he had an excellent match with Cody Rhodes. And I expected nothing less coming in. Look at the body of work that Cody Rhodes has put together since coming back to WWE. The matches that he had with Seth Rollins. The matches that he's had with Roman Reigns. The match that he had in France only a few weeks ago with AJ Styles. He has consistently, on the big stage, gone out there and delivered. Logan Paul, I'll say the same thing about him. And Logan Paul has not been wrestling nearly as long as Cody Rhodes, but Logan Paul goes out there in these big match situations, and he delivers. He delivers like somebody who has been doing this for 10 years. He's got unbelievable athleticism. You could tell he loves showing it off when he's out there. So I had no doubt you put these two in the ring together, they're going to go out there and have a great match. Finish was never in doubt. You're not going to put the WWE title on Logan Paul, let alone a month and a half after Cody finished the story and won the title at WrestleMania. Who's beating him for it? Logan Paul. No, I don't think so. So even though the finish was very predictable, the right man obviously went over here. Cody is still the champion, and now the question turns to who is next? Who is next in line for Cody Rhodes? We'll talk about that later. Overall, I thought it was an excellent show. I thought this was one of the best of all the Saudi shows that they've done so far. And there was enough on here to make it a newsworthy show. So it's not just in a vacuum where it happened. It was a pretty good show, but it doesn't really impact anything. And then we turn the page. We get to Raw and SmackDown next week. And it's almost like this show didn't even happen. Now, there were important things that happened on this show. This was a newsworthy show. Gunther and Nia Jax are King and Queen of the Ring. They now go to SummerSlam to challenge for the title. That's newsworthy. Triple H had some breaking news for us on this show. Liv Morgan won the Women's World Heavyweight title from Becky Lynch. But the breaking news from Triple H has to do with the next event, which is Clash at the Castle, another international PLE, which is coming up in just a few weeks, where we now know, and we kind of knew this already, but now it's been confirmed, that Drew McIntyre has been medically cleared. And Damian Priest has reiterated that he's willing to put his title on the line against Drew McIntyre. And so now it is official for Clash at the Castle in Glasgow on June 15th. It will be Drew McIntyre challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship. So we did get confirmation of that on this show as well. And also the next Saudi show has already been booked. Saturday, November 2nd, Crown Jewel. They are going to be back in Riyadh. And if that show is as good as this one, then we are in for a very fun 3 hours or so of pro wrestling. Because on the whole, I actually thought this show was excellent. Row Roman Reigns gently down the stream. Let's row that sumbitch. Row Roman Reigns gently down the stream. Row him all the way. Row him off the cliff. Row Roman Reigns. We're getting started early here. I'm just the sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy. I make them hot. I make them shiver. Their knees get weak whenever I'm around. There you go. They see me walk. Oh my. They hear me talk. I make them feel like they're on cloud nine. A Bobbert reviews with the $80 sexy boy super chat there. What the hell is going on here? Bobbert and Alex getting us started early. This is your WWE King and Queen of the Ring 2024 review. We are live here on YouTube on a rare Saturday afternoon, Memorial Day weekend. It should be relaxing. You should all be traveling right now or hanging out with friends, going to the shore, hanging out with family, eating burgers and hot dogs. I'm sitting here watching wrestling and then talking about it with all you guys. That's how I'm spending my Memorial Day weekend. Because don't forget, we have a podcast tomorrow and we have another pay-per-view. So the wrestling never ends. That's where I'll be. And I'm glad you're here with me right now. Do me a favor, we recently hit 80,000 subscribers on the channel. I'm trying now to get to 81, and I can't do that without you. So go ahead, and hit that subscribe button if you have not already done so. I see Daddy Ugarte is in the chat. I met him for the first time last night at the House of Glory show. I was very happy to see him there. I'm happy to see him here too, so shout out to him. But yes, hit that sub button if you have not already done so. You can be alerted then for any and all new content, live content that goes up on the channel. Make sure that notification bell is on. Hit that like button as well. And super chats, as you can see, are open. If you enjoy what I do, and if you want to show your support, you can drop a super chat. You'll see the special donation amounts are in the description down below. And I will shout you out. You know, I will be reading your messages here on this stream. You'll also see them popping up on screen. Let me know what you thought of the show. And before we get into it, before we get into everything here, I do have to give another very special shout out, because if you were watching this show, then you very likely, I don't see how it's possible that you could have avoided it. But even before the show, even when they went and hit the pre-show, and there you see Big E, and there's Wade Barrett, and there's Corey Graves, and there, way back in the background there, you see a Solomonster sounds off sign. And if that's all I would have seen, I would have been like, man, that's cool. That's really cool. But it just kept going and going and going and going as the show went on. Shout out to Fawaz. You've heard me mention his name before. He is the man responsible for that giant sound off sign that was unavoidable for the first half of this PLE. And unfortunately, he did message me midway through the show to update me that right before the King of the Ring final went out to the ring, I guess they were so annoyed by how many times they were seeing this freaking sign, they took his sign away from him before the Randy Orton and Gunther match. And he was wondering if I had seen it. Oh, I think the entire world saw it. So you did good, Fawaz. And again, thank you as always for the love and support. I lost count of how many times I saw this frickin' sign on camera. It was amazing. So there you go. Gotta give him a shout out and show him some love. They may have taken your sign away, but they can never take away the memories or the screenshots. I have them all saved. Now that match you saw there with Bianca and Jade was on the pre-show, which is where we're going to start here, because we had a WWE Women's Tag Team title defense on the kickoff show, and it was Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill taking on Candice LeRae and Indi Hartwell. This was set up on SmackDown last night, which I did go back and watch, even though I didn't review it live last night. Bianca Belair, in case you couldn't tell, lost to Nia Jax. She did not make it to the King of the Ring finals. Her knee, her bad knee, it gave out on her. It betrayed her. And so when she was in the back icing down her knee, she was approached first by Tiffany Stratton, who mocked her and then walked off. And then it was Candice and Indi who walked up to her and also were mocking her and having fun at her expense. Jade showed up and Jade said, I'm going to go find Nick Aldis and we're going to go take care of this. And so it's a match that they requested, and that's how we ended up here in this situation. Not only that, but if you remember, it was the beginning of this tournament when Bianca had that match with Candice that she first suffered that knee injury. So she could be doubly pissed at Candice LeRae for, you know, in effect, it kind of came back to bite her and cost her the Queen of the Ring. So that's how we got to this, even though it was only how many days ago? Not even a week ago. If you were watching Monday Night Raw, we saw Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark win a fatal four-way to become #1 contenders for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. And yet Candice and Indi, I guess they stepped in front of them in line because they were the ones who ended up getting the shot here tonight. So I guess that makes Shayna and Zoe #2. Now they're back to being #1. Always better to be #1 than #2. #2 is no good. You need #1. It's less messy that way. So the heels isolated Bianca. She was selling the knee. Jade took a hot tag, hit stinger splashes on both women in opposite corners. Jade then hit a sit-out powerbomb on Indi and had her beat. But Candice broke up the pin. Hartwell got Jade draped over the middle rope and held her. And the spot was, as she's holding her, Candice LeRae is going to hit a quebrada, lion salt. She did not land it flush, I guess is the best way of putting it. And in effect, the way that she landed was kind of head first on top of Jade's body, but I guess it's the thought that counts. After this, Candice hit Jade with a missile drop kick, which sent her into the corner where she was able to make the tag to Bianca. She took out Candice. Took out Candice's knee, rather, with a chop block. Tossed her to Jade, who held her while Bianca hit a DDT. Jade held on to Candice, who then got kicked up into a Ocean Cyclone suplex. And what was funny about this is, so they hit, this combination move, right? And she hits the Ocean Cyclone suplex. And Jade then went to go kip up to her feet, but she was in the way. Bianca was the legal person. So Bianca, in mid-kip up for Jade, Bianca just shoves her out of the way. Completely fucks up the kip up and goes over and makes the cover, gets the pin, and retain the tag team titles. Match was okay. I mean, it was perfectly acceptable here for the pre-show. But I will say what I liked. Nice to see some tandem offense here from Bianca and Jade. Instead of just having them win with the KOD or win with the Jaded, it's almost like they're trying to become a real tag team. And they're coming up with tag team offense that they can use. So I like that. The main card. Let's get into it here. It opened with the Women's World Championship on the line. Becky Lynch defending against Liv Morgan. Becky Lynch. Now, on these Saudi shows, the women have to be dressed from head to toe. You cannot be exposed. You cannot show any skin. So they have these full body suits that they wear. And sometimes they get creative with them. Becky Lynch walked out looking like she was ready to take everybody's bets at the roulette table. I'm looking at her, what she's wearing, and I'm thinking, the show in Vegas is tomorrow. That's the other show. You're not in Vegas. You're in Saudi. I don't know what the fuck she was supposed to be, but that's the first thing I thought. Everybody's gathered all around the table. We're going to play some roulette, maybe some baccarat. She's going to take everybody's bets, throw your chips in. The two of them ended up outside the ring early on. Liv got heat for a while until Becky cut her off and started to make a comeback. Hit a top rope leg drop. Becky attempted the disarm her. Not the last time she would be attempting this move. Liv, though, hit a code breaker for a near fall. Becky recovered and went to the top rope. Liv rolled away, though, and connected on a drop kick. Blackjack Becky. I think we have found a new gimmick. She doesn't have to be the man. The man is played out anyway. And Big Time Bex, I saw something where apparently they let the copyright or the, not copyright, but the trademark lapse on Big Time Bex. So Becky Lynch is in need of a new gimmick. Blackjack Becky. I think that might stick. I like that. So Liv tried for Oblivion. Becky cut her off and hit a reverse DDT. Went for the manhandle slam, but Liv countered with a roll-up and Becky kicked out. Morgan attempted a springboard arm drag. Becky, though, countered into the disarm her. And Morgan countered that into the rings of Saturn. But again, Becky counters into the disarm her. And now Dominic Mysterio, who is looking more and more like Eddie Guerrero circa 1997 by the day. It is fucking eerie. I mean, considering they did a whole storyline about the paternity of this kid years ago. You take one look at him, you tell me, does he look more like Ray's kid or Eddie's kid? Something is going on here between the mustache and the mullet. Dead ringer for Eddie Guerrero. So Dominic, arm in a sling, is now outside the ring. He and Liv have been hanging around each other. I hear Liv Morgan is single, so look, I don't blame Dom, although he is engaged to be married. No, he got married, right? He's not engaged. Well, he may not be married for much longer if that's the case. But anyway, so he and Liv have been hanging around each other a lot on TV lately. So Becky was distracted by his mere presence. The mere presence of the mullet and the mustache have distracted Becky Lynch. And she ends up walking into a code breaker. So Morgan went to the top rope, and Becky met her there, hit a superplex. At that point, Dom slid a chair into the ring to Becky. It wasn't even like he put it right in the middle of the ring. He slid it over to Becky Lynch so that Becky could use the chair to beat Liv, because Liv is the one who not beat, but, put Rhea Ripley on the injury list, which of course is near and dear to the heart of Dom. So in theory, that's what he was doing here. But Becky, of course, did not want any part of this. She had no interest in using the chair. She refused. So the referee was distracted now by Dom. Now, as the referee is distracted, the chair is still laying in the ring. Liv Morgan ends up hitting a DDT onto the chair. And then she hit Oblivion, and she got the pin to win the Women's Championship. And so Liv Morgan now is your brand new Women's World Champion. Oh, hello. Why, look at that. Look at what is behind Liv Morgan. Now tell me that's not a great visual right there. Your new Women's World Champion, Liv Morgan. Michael Cole and Corey Graves on commentary. They called Dom an idiot. Well, they claim that Dom was trying to help Becky, right, rather than Liv. That's what they want you to think. Dom acted like he was disappointed as he watched Liv leave and celebrate with the championship. There were definitely a few clunky moments in this match. So if you watched it, there were some tentative moments and clunky spots. I thought they had a pretty good match, and I liked the finish. And the main reason I like the finish is because now it creates an interesting little story twist. Because the question now is, do you believe that Dominic was trying to help Becky beat Liv? Or is there something else going on here? And where does Rhea Ripley now fit into all of this? Because you have to think that Rhea Ripley is not going to be very happy. Not going to be very happy at all about the fact that her lover boy over here just helped her arch rival win her women's world title. I like that. I like that little twist. I like the drama that it creates now in this story. Did he do it on purpose? Did he not? Shout out to Issa, who is joining us in the chat. I hope you are having a great Memorial Day weekend, wherever you may be. It was also the right finish. And again, I got to go back to all the people who bitched and moaned and pissed about Liv Morgan losing that battle royal on Raw after Rhea Ripley had to vacate the women's world title. And they had that battle royal to crown a new champion, and it came down to Becky Lynch, and it came down to Liv Morgan, and Liv lost. And there were so many people, mainly Liv Morgan fans, who get a little dramatic, who were very upset about this. How could they do this? Becky doesn't have to win. No, she doesn't. Becky Lynch never has to be the world champion again. She's already cemented her spot, her legacy, whatever you want to call it. She's been a multi-time women's champion, headlined WrestleMania, won the Royal Rumble. She's done all of these things. She's feuded with everybody, Charlotte Flair and Asuka and Bayley and Sasha Banks, everybody. But I said it at the time. Would you rather Liv Morgan win the women's world title in a meaningless, random battle royal on television? Or would you rather see her beat Becky Lynch straight up one-on-one in a pay-per-view match to become the champion? Because it seemed to me from that moment, that's exactly where this was headed. So now Liv gets, and she got a kind of a pop too from the crowd. She definitely had her share of fans there in Jeddah. But now she gets a big win over Becky Lynch. Yes, it was, with some fuckery, but so what? She beats Becky. She's the champion now. Are you happy? Are you happy? Because this is where it was always going to go. And this was a much better place for it to happen. It's a much bigger, much more meaningful moment for her. And it makes all the sense in the world, because Rhea Ripley, if she's not going to be out for that long, you keep that title on Liv Morgan now. She's on her revenge tour. She's taken Rhea's career. She's taken Rhea's title. Now she's trying to take Rhea's boyfriend or boy toy, whatever the hell whatever weird fucked up relationship they have that I'm sure you all wish you were in, but you'll never be. Whatever it is, she's on her revenge tour. She now holds on to that title and keeps it warm until Rhea is ready to come back. And it would be perfect if Rhea was back in a couple of months, because that's the SummerSlam match. If Rhea can be back in time, the SummerSlam match is Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan for the women's world title. And then, where does Dom fit into this equation? Dom is going to be caught in the middle of this like Elizabeth was between Hogan and Savage. Okay? Dominic is like Elizabeth now. If Elizabeth had a mustache and a mullet. That's basically what we have here. Okay? Chew on that visual. There you go. That's nightmare fuel for you. Now, I should mention that later in the show, Byron Saxton caught up with an angry Becky Lynch in the back who said she doesn't know what happened out there. She doesn't know what happened between Dom and Liv. But she's very upset. She says she has an automatic rematch clause. She's invoking it. She's going to go find Adam Pearce, and she will get her rematch with Liv Morgan this Monday on Memorial Day, live on Raw. So it hasn't been made official yet, but basically it's going to happen on Monday night. Becky is going to get her rematch, and I expect another development in the story here between Liv and Dom. I am not expecting them to switch the belt back to Becky. Keep in mind, Becky Lynch's contract, as far as we know, her contract is up in the next couple of weeks. Unless she's already signed a new deal and they just haven't announced it yet, her contract, as of a few weeks ago, was up in a few weeks. And I don't think Becky is leaving and going to AEW or anything like that. Either Becky is going to re-sign, or Becky is going to take some time off. Who knows? Maybe she just wants to spend some quality time with her daughter. Maybe her and Seth want to have baby number 2. I don't know. But all this talk about, could she leave and go somewhere else? Could she leave and go to AEW? Come on now. It's like people said the same thing about Drew McIntyre. And I never once honestly, legitimately thought that there was a shot of that happening. But like now that he went and signed that new deal and he was interviewed recently, he even said, I was never going anywhere. I was never leaving. Because why would he? He's in a great spot. He's getting paid, I'm sure, very well. He's on the best run of his entire career. Now he's going to be challenging for the World Heavyweight title, which he already won for 5 minutes at WrestleMania. He's got a ready-made feud with CM Punk when Punk comes back. He is in just prime position right now. Becky Lynch is kind of in the same category, where Becky Lynch, you could say, she's done all that there is to do. What's left for her to do? But she's in a great spot too, and her husband works for the company. And so, no, I don't expect her to be going anywhere. Could she take time off? It's possible, but I think she'll re-sign. We'll get the news probably this week or next at the latest. Just like we did Drew. Big fat new contract. Becky Lynch is signed to a new multi-year long-term WWE agreement. She's going to stay in the family. That's exactly what I think is going to happen. But until that's official, if she hasn't signed, they're not going to put the belt back on her. But Liv Morgan is going to have that thing until Rhea Ripley is ready to come back. Because that's the story that makes sense. Next up, we had a triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. Sami Zayn defending the title against Chad Gable and Big Bronson Reed. I was wondering after Monday night when we had "You Suck" chants after after Chad Gable beat Sami Zayn, Kurt Jr. Beat Sami Zayn. I said, I wonder if this is going to stick. The answer is yes, but I am unconvinced that it was organic to begin with, because I'm listening to the people chanting "You Suck" to his music. It just doesn't work. Like with Kurt, it worked. They were doing it to the tune of his music. It doesn't fit with Chad Gable's song. So I'm thinking they piped that shit in on Monday. But now it's catching on, and you can see the fans are doing it. But with that music, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work as well. And I don't think it was organic on Monday. But now people are starting to pick up on it. And Gable reminded Otis, who came to the ring. Now, Maxine Dupree walked out with them as well, but he sent her to the back. So imagine flying however many hours it is all the way to Saudi Arabia, and you get all dressed up in your full body costume, and you walk out on stage, and then you get sent to the back. Hell of a night there for Maxine Dupree. But Chad told Otis, remember the plan. Remember what we talked about. Remember what we discussed as far as helping him win the title. Sami, of course, came out and got a monster reaction from the crowd. They love Sami Zayn in Saudi Arabia. He went after Gable at the bell until Reed cut him off. Reed managed to catch both him and Gable, and then somehow, it was like a Uranage slam, slammed them both at the same time, and the way Sami landed, Chad's knees went up into his spine. So he slammed both of them at the same time. Moments later, Gable got Sami trapped inside the ring apron skirt and started throwing punches at him. Cole said that this was Gable's... Now think about this. Think about this stat here. Michael Cole said that this was Chad Gable's first PLE match in 14 months. Over a year. That's fucking sad. So hopefully that will change and he will get an increasing number of opportunities on these shows. Hopefully we will see him become champion very soon. Tonight was not his night. But when he said that, it just reinforced in my brain, like, what a waste. What a waste of this guy. Can't even get a match on a pay-per-view in over a year. And I'm happy now that he has a story that's going on. The heel turn, the story they're doing with him right now is exactly what they need to be doing. And hopefully it will give him more opportunities in the future and it won't just be a one-and-done type of situation for him. Zayn sent both men to ringside, hit them with a huge flip dive. Back inside, Gable performed a sunset bomb on Reed, Sami did, to a big pot. Only got 2. One of the stories of the match, other than Gable and Otis, which we'll get to, was Sami consistently trying to lift up Bronson Reed for a Blue Thunder Bomb. Which sounds like a pretty stupid thing to try to do. You're already at a disadvantage coming into this match, right? It's a triple threat. You don't have to be pinned to lose your title. No countouts, no disqualifications. Why would you try to lift up a man the size of Bronson Reed and put your back out? Why? But he tried. He tried once, he tried twice. It didn't work. Kept failing. Reed positioned Sami on the top turnbuckle. Gable returned and shot blocked Reed from behind. Gable went to the ropes, but now Bronson Reed recovered, and he was the bottom man in a Tower of Doom spot that sent Sami and Chad crashing all the way down to the mat. Oh God, Shorty G. Don't remind me. I had actually put that out of my head. And now you have brought it back to the forefront, all of the Shorty G nonsense. See, that right there, okay? You want 2 perfect examples of then and now. 2 perfect examples of the Vince McMahon era and the Paul Levesque era. 2 people. You look at Chad Gable and you look at LA Knight. We went from Shorty G and Max Dupree to LA Knight and Chad Gable. Those are some stark differences between the era of the past and the current era that we now find ourselves in. 2 reasons why this era is better than the previous one. So Reed. Bronson Reed is a big boy. You know how I know this? Because big is in his name. That's why they call him Big Bronson Reed. Big Bronson Reed here went to the top rope and he pulled a big Van Vader out of his ass because he went to the top and he went for a moonsault. And Vader was the first big man I ever saw even attempt a moonsault. So now Bronson Reed tried for, it didn't work. He tried for one, but Zayn avoided it. Gable, though, hit a top rope moonsault on Reed and had him pinned. Sami, though, was able to break it up at the very last moment. Zayn put Reed down with a tornado DDT and had him pinned until Gable broke it up. Gable then put Zayn in an ankle lock, and Sami teased tapping out. Almost reached the ropes, but Gable pulled him to the middle of the ring and grapevined him. Bronson approached Gable, who released the ankle lock and on Sami, and then he put Reed in the same hold. So now he's got an ankle lock on Bronson Reed, but now he's exposed. And so Sami Zayn then puts Gable in an ankle lock. So we had a human chain here of ankle locks for a few seconds until Gable let go of his. And on what I believe was his 3rd attempt, I believe it was attempt number 3, Sami finally got Bronson Reed up for a Blue Thunder Bomb. And he may not have gotten the rotations on it that he gets with some other smaller people, but it was still very impressive. And the crowd went crazy for it. And he didn't hit it. He did hit it, rather. And he didn't win with it. But I love the Blue Thunder Bomb, so I will pop every time I see somebody do it. Reed came back and put both men on his shoulders and hit a double Samoan drop. Gable and Zayn rolled to the floor, and then Reed hit them with a suicide dive. He looks like a flying tank with legs. Wipes them both out with a suicide dive. He rolls Sami back inside, goes for a move that Sami avoided. Sami then tried for a haluva kick, but Gable cut him off and hit a pair of German suplexes. Sami blocked Gable's attempt for a third one and hit him with 2 Germans of his own. And as Sami set up for a third one, Reed grabbed him from behind. Gable then slipped behind Reed and double German them. And everyone went flying. It was a great spot. So now with Reed on the outside, Gable motioned to Otis. Now's the time. And Otis mowed down Bronson Reed. And there's nothing the referee can do about any of this because there's no disqualifications in a triple threat match, so it's all legal, which begs the question why he didn't at that point just have Otis come in the ring and the two of them just start ganging up on these guys. But again, nothing the ref can do, no DQs. So then Gable tossed Sami Zayn outside the ring and he told Otis to do the same thing. Take care of him. Do it. You know what you need to do. But Otis hesitated. Gable went to the floor. He scolded Otis. He grabbed Sami from behind and told Otis to hit him. And Otis wound up like he was about to, but then he stopped. And so Gable got up in Otis's face. He yelled at him some more, and then he smacked him. And then he went back to go pick up Sami, and he told Otis again, do it. And Otis wound up. He went for a clothesline. Sami ducked out of the way, and Otis clotheslined the shit out of Chad Gable. Sami got back in the ring. He hit Bronson Reed with a haluva kick and covered him for the win to retain the title. Still, your Intercontinental Champion is Sami Zayn. After the match, while Sami celebrated with the Solomonster sounds off sign bouncing up and down behind him in the background, Gable was outside the ring, like right up next to Otis's face, just staring him down. He was just glaring angrily at this man. This was excellent. This was excellent work from all three men here. I figured Sami was retaining here anyway. And not only did I say Sami was going to retain, I've been telling you that he would beat Bronson Reed. It would be stupid. Don't pin Chad Gable. If Sami is going to win and Chad's not winning the title yet, have him beat Bronson Reed, because now what it does, it keeps open the possibility of coming back to Sami and Gable for at least one more singles match. And I sure as hell hope that we get one more singles match, because how can Chad Gable go through everything that he has been through? Going all the way back to last summer, late summer, early fall, whenever it was that he first got in the ring with Gunther. And he lost. And then he lost again. And then he kept losing to all these different people. Ivar and everybody else for months on Raw that he kept losing to. And now he's turned heel and he's still losing. At some point, he has to win. And if at the end of all of this, they don't put the Intercontinental title on this man, what a slap in the face. And what a missed opportunity. So I sure as hell hope that at the end of all this, we still get Intercontinental Champions Chad Gable. Seems more likely that we will come back to him and Sami, given that he did not eat the pin here in this match. So that was the right way to do that finish. But Otis, let's look at Otis here for a second, right? Because Otis has some plausible deniability when it comes to that clothesline that he delivered on the outside, right? Did he mean to knock Chad Gable on his ass? Because there was a second there where he could have stopped himself. But he kept going. And he barreled over this man. And in the end, it cost him. It cost him the chance to become the Intercontinental Champion. But he can claim that it was a mistake. Was it or was it not? I don't know. There's no need to pull the trigger on the split just yet with Gable and Otis. You can keep this going for at least a few more weeks. But where I see this going, and maybe this is more hope than prediction, but where I see this going, or where I would take this, is you get the split. Right, at some point, Otis is going to split away from Chad Gable. They're doing a great job of putting sympathy on Otis, by the way. He was already a likable character. But every time that they do an angle like this, and they tease it, but they don't do it yet, it just puts more and more sympathy on this man. So when the moment actually happens, it could be Monday, it could be a month from now, wherever they are, whatever city they're in, I hope they have a good crowd, and the place will just go nuts for Otis when he finally stands up for himself. And you could get Gable versus Otis, that's fine. But we should get the Alpha Academy, the new Alpha Academy of Chad Gable and the Creed brothers. The Creed brothers need to go heel. And we need a new trio of Gable and the Creeds. Once Gable unloads the dead weight that is the current version of the Alpha Academy, that's what I'm looking for. And that's when Chad Gable can win the Intercontinental title. And that's when the Creeds can end up winning the World Tag Team titles from The Miz and R-Truth. Since they split the titles now, we have 2 sets of tag team belts. There isn't exactly a huge, a huge collection of great tag teams now on Monday Night Raw, but the Creeds are pretty high up on the list, I would think. And if they go heel, if and when they go heel, you put the tag titles on them. Now, they have gold and Gable has gold. And you give those guys a run together. That's what I'm hoping for. And that's what I would do if I were in their shoes. Now, we come to our first of 2 finals matches here in these tournaments. I mean, this entire PLE is called King and Queen of the Ring. That's really what it's all about.
It's the amazing Gunther.
And it's about this man, too.
Jerry Lawler loves Gunther, the Magnificent. All hail Gunther.
All hail Gunther and Gunther. Look at the art, by the way. Look at the crown. It's a good thing he won, or else the art would have been fucked. You already see the crown on Gunther's head there in the layout. All hail both Gunther and Gunther. 2 men to be respected here. Hey, David Thering, thank you for the $50 Gunther bomb here on the channel, David.
Yowie wowie.
Much appreciated, sir. I salute you. But what we are going to do, I'm going to read David's message and all of your messages here in just a little bit. So get those super chats on in. And again, like the video if you have not already done so. Because if not, I will send Gunther after you and he will do something so unmentionable that I can't mention it here on YouTube. Hey, Dead Film Society, thank you for the sub. Love the name, by the way. We had the Queen of the Ring finals with Nia Jax representing SmackDown, taking on Lyra Valkyria representing Monday Night Raw. Lyra walked out wearing giant raven's wings. Bird Girl, I say it every week. You people laugh at me, but Bird Girl, this goes all the way back to NXT when she first debuted and she was talking about her lineage and history or whatever. When the wings come out, it's time for Bird Girl. The one Marvel superhero that did not do well, which is why they have not made a movie about her yet. Bird Girl just didn't catch fire. I don't know why. Just didn't work out. Triple H addressed the Gunther Randy controversy. Did he? Well, keep me posted on that because I have something to say about that. But give me an update on that so I can find out exactly what Triple H had to say about that. We'll get to that finish here in a little bit of a controversial finish to the King of the Ring final. But first, Queen of the Ring. This was 85%, easily 85 to 90% Nia on offense, which made for a slow, quiet start to the match as she worked over the smaller Valkyria, who was the very definition of underdog in this match. Valkyria tried to fight back. Nia kept pounding away, and she put her at a sleeper. Valkyria attempted to fight back with some elbows. Nia spun her around and slammed her to the floor, and then connected after that with a Samoan drop. Nia splashed Valkyria in the corner and dropped an elbow on her lower back before covering her for 2. Lyra came back with a jawbreaker and threw some kicks at her and capped it off with a step-up enziguri. And then she ran the ropes, got scooped up, though, and hit by a Samoan drop. Is there a cartoon character named Bird Girl? I don't know. Perhaps I just created one. So, Valkyria rallied briefly. It wasn't very long, but she tried to rally. Nia, though, caught her going for a drop kick through the ropes, caught her legs, and then Nia tried for something on the floor. Lyra was able to counter that into a DDT, or not a DDT, but a bulldog. A bulldog on the floor. Back inside, Lyra threw missile drop kick, only grazed Nia. Not the first time in this match that she threw some offense at Nia, and it didn't look great. It just kind of grazed her. Nia came back with another Samoan drop. Then she brought Valkyria to the corner and went to the ropes. Lyra, though, stood up and kicked her. And Nia ended up hanging from the ropes. Lyra then hit her with a running drop kick. Lyra went up top, landed a leg drop to the back of Nia's head. Nia came back with a splash in the corner and then hoisted Valkyria onto her shoulders and climbed to the middle rope. Valkyria slipped off of Nia's shoulders and tried for a sunset bomb. Boy, was she trying. She was trying and putting all of her weight, because Lyra looks like she's 4'8", 98 pounds, and she's trying as hard as she could to just take this woman over. Nia simply will not go. And then finally, what a finish this was. Finally, Nia Jax just sits on poor Lyra Valkyria, full force, just squashes her, sits right down on her stomach with the Annihilator, and that was all she wrote. Nia Jax is now your Queen of the Ring for 2024. It was not the most exciting match, but it was a simple story. I mean, you could kind of tell the story they were going for here. Lyra at the beginning throwing whatever she could at Nia. It was completely ineffective, and Nia was just sort of toying with her for, I would say, the majority of the match. But it was a simple story, with Lyra fighting from underneath, annihilated indeed. You know how in Grand Theft Auto, right, the screen wasted? They should have had annihilated on the screen, because that was Lyra Valkyria. The finish was wild, though. I mean, she came down full force, and Lyra is a tiny girl. I mean, she's not tall. She's not, she doesn't have any kind of like muscle to her or anything like that. She's a tiny person. And Nia just fucking squat. I mean, they're going to be scraping her up off the mat like a fucking pancake. So Triple H appeared in the ring with the crown, and he hugged Nia, who got very emotional. So she stopped playing heel for a second here, and she was, you could tell she got tears in her eyes and everything. And then she took a knee, and Triple H placed the crown upon her head to bestow the honor of Queen of the Ring here on this woman. Kayla Braxton got into the ring. Nia told her to save her congratulations because she didn't need it. She said the fans would become even angrier because she would go on to become the WWE Women's Champion at SummerSlam. And then they shot off some pyro on stage while Nia looked into the camera with the crown on her head. I had Nia, as of, a week ago or whatever, I had Nia winning. Once I saw who the final people were here in this. I had Nia winning coming into this. Once Becky Lynch lost the women's world title, though, in the opener, I mean, this was just a foregone conclusion as far as who's going to go on to SummerSlam. And yeah, it's true, Becky could always win the belt back on Monday. But it seemed pretty clear to me that Nia Jax was going to go over here, and that was the SummerSlam match that made the most sense. And it was the correct finish. It was the correct finish. The right person went over here. Nia, look, for her part, I will say, Nia Jax was brought back to WWE by Triple H. She was brought back with a particular role in mind. She has a role on the show. She is the Annihilator. She is the monster, right? She throws her weight around. In a lot of these matches, she's the bigger of the two. That's her role. And she has done a fine job of playing her role. And she has had some good matches, very good matches even with Becky. She headlined Elimination Chamber in Perth against Rhea Ripley. She's had some TV matches that were good. Here in this match, again, this was not a great match or anything like that, but she played her part. And that finish was a finish. You knew that Lyra was not getting up after that finish. Lyra did not need to win this tournament. Yeah, she didn't. Lyra Valkyria was not a known entity to the fans of the main roster, Raw and SmackDown. They didn't know who she was unless they watched NXT. She debuted, and they have been pushing her pretty strong ever since. Debuting her at the same time that they did this Queen of the Ring tournament was smart, because it allowed them to establish her week by week in each round. Plus, they have her rubbing shoulders or wings with Becky Lynch. So they have done everything that they possibly could so far up to this point. She's only been on the main roster for maybe a month to try to establish her, to try to, get her over as a babyface. I still feel like she's very bland. There's just not a lot there personality-wise, and they're going to have to try to pull more of that out of her in the weeks and months ahead. But all she had to do was persevere and make it all the way to the finals. The scrappy underdog, right? Who shocks the world and makes it all the way to the final round, but then just falls short in the end. Like poor Savio from the King of the Ring back in 1995. The only time Lyra, Valkyria, and Savio Vega will likely ever be compared. That's all they needed to do. So she's already been established now. And now they can build on that. She did not have to win this tournament. But I also think that it would have been something that would have worked against her. So had she won this tournament, it would have been more negative than positive. You would have had people going, oh, too much too soon. They're shoving her down our throats. Too much too soon, too fast. What are they doing with her? Because she just debuted. That's probably a big part of why we didn't see Braun Breaker in the King of the Ring. They didn't want to beat him. But if Braun Breaker had gone all the way and won the King of the Ring and was already being gifted a World Heavyweight Championship match, it would have felt like too much too soon. And I love Braun Breaker. I think he's going to be one of the biggest stars that they have, but it would have been too much too soon. So that's why it was the right finish. And now you look ahead to SummerSlam, assuming that Bayley is still going to be the Women's World Champion come August 3rd, I think it is. I think that Nia Jax stands a very good chance of walking out with that Women's World title. Or, the WWE Women's title at SummerSlam. And it ties into another idea. And I mentioned this last week, and I mentioned it on TNT on Tuesday as well. And I didn't mention it in a way like, oh, I can't wait to see it. I just mentioned it in that I think there's a very good chance it's going to happen. We're going to get Queen against Queen, because there's only room for one Queen on SmackDown. And when Charlotte Flair returns, and she will be back soon, I don't know exactly how soon, but she'll be back soon enough. She may well be back in time for SummerSlam. We are going to get, at some point not long after that, Queen against Queen, because she's going to go to SmackDown. That's where Andrade is. You're not going to have Nia Jax walking around with a crown on her head and not have the Queen make her come back and take umbrage with that. So it's coming. The only question is it going to be for the WWE Women's Championship? I think there's a very good chance. The answer is yes. And we may have Nia beat Bayley, and then when Charlotte comes back, at Nia and Charlotte for the women's title. And I know, as if Charlotte Flair needed any excuse, right, to cash in her Charlotte in the bank, but let's be honest here, you know it's coming. You don't have to like it, but you know it's going to happen. It's only natural. So that's where I see this going. Now, as far as Lyra is concerned, I was also thinking about this. And I don't know if Becky may step away for a while, but assuming she doesn't, let's assume that Becky is going to be around. I think that one thing that might make sense is to have Becky and Lyra, since we've already seen them together, as friends. Becky and Lyra as partners going after the women's tag team titles. We could see Becky and Lyra against Jade and Bianca at SummerSlam, possibly, for those tag titles. So that's something else to chew on and think about, because I think that we're going to see Becky and Lyra doing some stuff together in the future. So now, with the Queen of the Ring out of the way, it was on to the King of the Ring, because there were two tournaments here. And now we have Gunther representing Monday Night Raw, going into the finals to take on Randy Orton, the Viper. The Viper and the Ring General for the first time ever one-on-one. This is one of the reasons why I greatly enjoyed this tournament, because we got to see a match that we've never seen before. And you had to know coming in that these two, Randy Orton, right, one of the best to ever do it. It just seems to come so easy and so natural for him in the ring. Gunther also right now one of the best in the business. You put the two of them in the ring together. Randy's a little bit older now, but still, how could these two go in there and have anything but a very good match? So I was very much looking forward to this. Orton took his time with his entrance. My God, Randy Orton took so much time for this fucking entrance, it put The Undertaker and Roman Reigns to shame. He was in no rush to get this thing started. He took his time coming down the ramp. He went around the ring. He hit all the corners. I'm pretty sure they played his music over about 4 times before we finally got things going here. And the crowd sang along, because that's the new thing now ever since France. All the fans sing along to Randy Orton's song. See, look what they've started. Randy Orton said that in all the years, 20 years he's been doing this, never has he had a crowd sing his entrance music. And then Backlash came. And they sang his music, and now everybody does it. So now it's just forever going to be part of his entrance going forward. All these years, nobody thought to sing the fucking lyrics to this guy's song. It's a catchy tune. Why did it take the French to finally make it happen? So they've given us 2 things now. Well, actually 3. Statue of Liberty. But they've given us 2 things now. 2 very important things. They've given us French fries, and they've given us Randy Orton's song with lyrics that people sing when he comes to the ring. You see? You see? The fucking French. There you go. So the bell rang, and the crowd gave them a standing ovation. They had not even touched. And the crowd gave these people a standing ovation. They sang the Ole, Ole, Ole song. Michael Cole on commentary. And I thought Michael Cole and Corey Graves did a very good job on commentary. I just want to put that out there before I say what I'm about to say. I did enjoy their work together. But Michael Cole on commentary said, unless I misheard him, that the only time the King of the Ring winner received a shot at the world title was when Brock Lesnar won in 2002, and he went on to win the championship. Now, if we're talking about men who won the King of the Ring and actually went on to win the championship, then that would be correct. Okay, so that statement is fine. Yes, French fries are from Belgium. Just roll with it, okay? Don't be, oh, teacher. Come on now. Play along. Fucking nerds, what's wrong with you? So anyway, if that's what he meant, then that's fine. However, to say that the only time somebody won the King of the Ring and went on to challenge for the world title or challenge for it at SummerSlam, that is incorrect. That is to ignore 1994 and 1995 with Owen Hart and Mabel, who won King of the Ring and then at SummerSlam that year were challenging for the world title. Now, 95, I can understand wanting to forget. I always try to forget 1995. And King Mabel and Sir Mo and King Mabel against Diesel. Okay, yeah, we all try to forget about that. But the 94 thing is so weird to me because at the beginning of this, as these men were coming out and they were doing the entrances for this, Corey Graves told a story on commentary about when he was a little boy. His father took him and his brother, Sam Adonis, to whatever the arena. I think they were in, God, where the fuck were they? Baltimore, I think it was, right? The 94 King of the Ring, I think was in Baltimore. Took them to the King of the Ring to see Owen Hart win the crown in 1994. So how do you forget that? Come on now. The atmosphere to start this match, it felt like a major main event. Orton had his left knee wrapped up. Now remember, they first worked the knee injury into the opening round when he wrestled AJ Styles. And it has plagued him in this tournament ever since. So he eventually took Gunther down with a side headlock. Gunther backed Orton into the corner, lit him up with a chop. I felt that one. So did Randy. Gunther then hit him with another chop, which made Orton angry. Orton blocked one more and then took him down with an uppercut. Gunther went for a powerbomb that Orton avoided. Orton went for an RKO, but Gunther stuffed it. Orton sold his back on the landing, though, and Gunther's eyes lit up like a Christmas tree because now he sees the target, and he makes the back his new target, and he works over the lower back. Michael Cole said that he wasn't trying to... Oh, there's another Michael Cole gem. So Michael Cole on commentary says that he is not trying to take anything away from Sami Zayn, but he still believes that his win over Gunther at WrestleMania was a fluke. And if I were Sami Zayn, I'm just saying, I would be pretty pissed about that. That's like when somebody starts a conversation and goes, no offense, but, and then they go on to offend you. It's like, no, you don't get to say no offense, but you're offending me. Just go ahead and say what you got to say. So yeah, now if I'm Sami Zayn, I wouldn't be terribly happy about that comment there from Michael Cole. Gunther went for a suplex that Orton blocked. Gunther stuffed Orton's suplex attempt. Eventually, Orton did hit the suplex. Orton also hit a power slam. Gunther rolled under the ropes. Orton grabbed him and then hit the trademark draping DDT. Then he stood up and he played to the crowd and he struck the Viper pose. He went for an RKO. Gunther shoved him off and then slammed him. And Gunther went up top and he actually slipped. He lost his footing and it looked like he was going to fucking faceplant all the way down. But somehow he was able to recover and he hit the splash. He nailed it. I don't know how he did it. I don't know how he didn't embarrass himself or kill himself and just fall flat, but he was able to hit the splash. He only got a near fall out of it. And then he went back up top for another splash, and this time he was a little more careful. Well, you know, those ropes, they get very wet. All the sweat and the spit and the blood, other bodily fluids. You don't know what kind of fluids are flying around. My God. That ring is like a fucking giant petri dish. So he went for another splash. He rolled through, though, when Orton moved. When Gunther stood up, though, Orton hit him with an RKO, and everybody went nuts. And now Orton is selling all of his injuries, right? He's got the bad knee, he's got the bad back. But he quickly, this time, makes his way over to make the cover. And actually, no, that was the second one that he hit. He slowly went over to make the cover, and wisely, Gunther rolls out of the ring. Presence of mind, and he rolls out to avoid being pinned. So Orton goes to ringside. He dumps Gunther onto the English announce desk, not once but twice. Orton returned to the ring to break the count. When he went back to the floor, though, Gunther shoved him so that his back collided with the side of the ring. And Gunther set Orton up for a powerbomb. Randy backdropped him on the floor. Orton picked him up, dumped him on the announce desk for a third time. Orton rolled Gunther back inside. When he tried to re-enter the ring, though, and he was trying to get through the ropes, Gunther drop-kicked the bad knee. And then Gunther put Orton in a half crab, which Michael Cole said would hurt Orton's knee and his back. What have I been pointing out to you now in all of my reviews for weeks? It all goes back to the first round and the first match that Gunther had with Sheamus. And he tapped Sheamus out, which was pretty surprising, but he tapped him out because he had the bad knee. Because Ludwig Kaiser hit him in the knee, and Gunther made that his target, and he tapped him out in a half crab. And then what happened in the next round? He went in there with Kofi Kingston. He beat Kofi and tapped him out with what? A Boston crab, because he was working over the back. So they've been setting this up from day one. This whole thing has been set up from day one with Orton and Gunther, and him using those submission holds to work the different body parts over. Guess what Randy Orton has? He has a bad back and a bad knee. So again, they've been thinking about this here from day one. Orton rolled onto his back. He kicked Gunther away. Gunther kicked Orton and reapplied the hold, but Orton got the ropes. And when both men stood up, Orton hit Gunther with another RKO. And this is the time where he didn't waste any time. And he went and quickly tried to cover him while selling the bad knee. Gunther kicked out, though. He kicked out of the RKO. That's the second one. And then he crucifixed Orton over into a pin, and he got the 3 count to become King of the Ring. Randy's left shoulder, though, the problem was that Randy's left shoulder was a good 6 inches up off the mat. And the referee, there's no way the referee missed it. The referee was right there. So Orton's shoulder 6 inches up off the mat, the referee still counts 3. Was it a botch or was it intentional? Corey Graves tried to mention it on the replay. They showed the replay from the reverse angle. So we didn't see the dead-on shot of Randy's shoulders. We got the opposite shot where you couldn't see anything. So that's the replay they showed. And then when Graves started to make a comment, oh, wait, can we roll that back? I want to see, like he was about to bring up the fact that the shoulder was up. He got cut off. And it was never mentioned again. Those things, those 2 things, the replay they showed and then him getting cut off indicate to me that it may have been a botch. But it's always possible that it wasn't. And maybe it was done intentionally that way. I lean towards botch because of that. We'll see if they mention it on TV this week. If they do, even if they do, that does not necessarily mean that it was planned that way. We've seen that happen before. I mean, remember The Rock Won the Royal Rumble in 2000, right? Except he didn't. His feet touched the floor. So they turned it into an angle. Big Show showed up on TV. I have footage. I really won. I have footage. If it was a botch, they could never mention it again. Or they can mention it and turn it into a story of some kind on TV. I would be surprised if Orton doesn't bring it up on SmackDown, if they don't have him talk about it or mention it. Or even the announcers mention it on Friday. But we'll see. It was so blatantly obvious. I just can't imagine they don't acknowledge it on TV. That finish was the only black mark on what I thought otherwise was an excellent King of the Ring final. Arguably one of the best King of the Ring finals that they have ever done. And the only reason I would hesitate, because there just have not been that many great finales. I mean, you think of all the King of the Ring tournaments that there have been, the televised ones anyway, that we've seen. Going all the way back to the beginning, I cannot think of very many finales that were these all-time classic matches. You just didn't have them. Mabel and Savio, Austin and Jake, Triple H and Mankind, Billy Gunn and whoever the fuck he beat in the finals. I think it was X-Pac. I mean, go on and on. I mean, there may have been some good matches, but it's not like we've gotten any real fucking bangers, except the 93 one where Brett and Bam Bam had their match. That was a very good match. And I loved the finish. The victory roll finish was a great finish to that match. And so that's the only reason I will not sit here and say that this was the best final that we've had. I still personally think that the Brett and Bam Bam one, I would probably put that above it. And certainly the finish of that was much better than the finish of this match. But Orton and Gunther, again, they've earned the right to say that they had one of the best King of the Ring finals of all time. This was an excellent professional wrestling match. And this was also not even at the high level that you usually see from Gunther matches. We've seen Gunther go out there and have matches that were better than this. At his highest level, that's not what this was. And this was still excellent. Now, after the match, Triple H was back in the ring. He shook Gunther's hand and handed him the crown. I was watching to see, is he going to put the crown on his head? Because it's kind of goofy. I mean, let's be honest here. Right? It's kind of goofy. He never did. He never put the crown on his head. Now, of course, I sit here and say this and watch him and Kaiser will have some fucking ceremony on Monday where he'll put the crown on his head now. But he held the crown. Triple H raised his arm and Gunther held the crown in the air. He never put it on his head. Because I guess for him, it's too cartoonish, right? It's a cartoonish thing. You walk around with a crown and a scepter and a robe. They didn't have any of that other stuff. It was literally just a crown for the king and the queen. But he don't need no stinking crown. You know why? Because he's got a title match at SummerSlam now in his back pocket. He's got that all sewn up. Nobody can take it away from him. It is under lock and key. He will challenge the World Heavyweight Champion because it has to be the champion of your respective brand. So you're not going to get Gunther and Cody. It's going to be Gunther against either Damian Priest or Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. Byron Saxton got in the ring, asked Gunther how it felt to be king. A small "you deserve it" chant broke out. He said that's very nice, but what I do or don't deserve is none of your business. He said the apex predator became the prey, and now he will become the World Heavyweight Champion at SummerSlam. Nothing flashy here. Just some smash mouth wrestling, basic storytelling with Orton's injuries. It was slower paced, but they built to those RKO spots, I thought, very well. The thing about the finish also, I thought that they were building to an Orton tap out because the knee, the back, holds on as long as he can, but he just can't take it anymore. And really put Gunther over strong. He can say, I tapped out Sheamus, I tapped out Randy Orton. The only thing I can imagine, because look, I mean, if Randy Orton were to go in there and tap out, first of all, there's no shame in losing. We're tapping out to Gunther, number one, the way he's been protected. And number two, Randy Orton is bulletproof. He's a made man. Randy Orton could go in there and he can get pinned. He could tap out. He's still fucking Randy Orton. And everybody knows that. The only thing I could figure is they wanted to protect him because if he is going to be challenging Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship, they did not want him to go in there and tap out. So they came up with this finish. Again, the finish was the only black mark on the match. And it doesn't even matter to me if it was a botch or not. If it was intentional, if it was a botch, it still sucked. I didn't like the finish. But I loved everything else about this. So to go back to SummerSlam for a second, who is Gunther now going to be challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship? We now know the match is official for Clash at the Castle. It will be McIntyre challenging Damian Priest for the title. If the SummerSlam match is Drew McIntyre against CM Punk, and how could it not be? I mean, the only way I would see it not being the SummerSlam match is if he just didn't have medical clearance at this point. That match screams SummerSlam. I mean, it could be a WrestleMania match, but we're too far away from that. Well, if Drew and Punk are going to work at SummerSlam, and Gunther already has his shot locked up for the World Heavyweight title, that would seem to indicate that Drew McIntyre may not be walking out of Glasgow as the World Heavyweight Champion. He may be getting fucked by CM Punk, which imagine the heat that'll get Punk if he goes into Scotland and screws the Scot out of a World Heavyweight Championship. But that would seem to indicate right now to me that Damian Priest may be going in there and retaining that title. And then we would get Priest and Gunther at SummerSlam, and we can get Punk and McIntyre one-on-one. No title on the line, just strictly a grudge match one-on-one. And he may get his shattered dreams, McIntyre will, in his home country. But look, I'll put a button on it with this. Whether it's Drew McIntyre, whether it's Damian Priest, whether it happens at SummerSlam, whether it happens at the Bash in Berlin, by the time this summer is over, Gunther will be the World Heavyweight Champion. That's it. It's the next natural ascent for him. Ever since he lost the Intercontinental title, he's King of the Ring. The only thing left for him now to conquer is the World Heavyweight title. And it's going to happen. It's going to happen, I think, to the detriment of Drew McIntyre. But all hail your new king. The right man for the job. The main event. We're already up to the main event. It was champion against champion, with the United States champion Logan Paul challenging Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship. They had Saudi comedian and actor Ibrahim Al-Hajjaj deliver the in-ring intros for this match. No Prime logo on the mat, which is strange because the agreement was that they would have the Prime branding on the ring mat for all of the PLEs. And so now we come to a PLE that has Logan Paul, Mr. Prime himself, like fucking Optimus Prime over here, is in the main event, challenging no less for the World Championship, and there's no Prime logo on the mat. You would think if ever there was a time for it, it would be now, and not that I missed it. That's fine. I mean, they can keep it off the mat as far as I'm concerned. But I thought that was a little funny. That of all the times for it not to be there, Logan Paul is in the main event wrestling for the world title. So Michael Cole played up Logan Paul having a titanium plate in his right hand and said that he doesn't need the brass knuckles, which he actually gave the brass knucks to Michael Cole. They had a pre-show press conference earlier in the day or the other day. And he said, here, Michael, I'm going to give these to you. Okay, I'm not going to use them. Of course, he was full of shit. But that's why Michael Cole was so animated here, I guess you would say, during this match whenever Logan, used the knucks or teased using the knucks, because he made a promise that he wasn't going to do it, but he's a fucking heel. You can't trust the heel. You can't trust Logan Paul. If you got the Paul brothers, you can't trust them, all right? So the two started off a little tentatively. Rhodes attempted to do the drop-down uppercut spot, but Paul grabbed the hand and slammed it onto the mat. Cody attempted a flying crossbody, but Logan ducked and he whiffed. Cody went flying through the air. There was nobody there. And he rolled out of the ring, and then he got wiped out by a crossbody. Back inside, Logan gained control with an abdominal stretch. And Cody fired back with a disaster kick as Logan was on the apron that sent him to the floor. So the two ended up over by the barricade near Logan's buddies. He's always got his friends in the front row. What's that guy's name? Jeff? I think Jeff is one of his friends. Anyway, they make their way over to the barricade where Logan's posse is. And one of them hands a pair of brass knucks to Logan Paul because Cody had already grabbed one of them, one of the geeks, and pulled them over the barricade and was basically assaulting him. And the referee was over with Cody, trying to calm him down. So they didn't see Jeff hand the knucks over to Logan Paul. So now Cody turns his attention back to Logan. He charges, he launches himself off the ring steps, and as he's coming in, Logan catches him in the breadbasket. I love that fucking word. Shout out to Gorilla Monsoon. Catches him right in the breadbasket with the brass knuck shot. And that was one of the stories of the match. They were doing a story here where Cody's ribs were being worked over constantly by Logan Paul. So now he takes brass knucks to the ribs. Now he's in really bad shape. And Michael Cole, by the way, as soon as he grabbed those knucks from his friend, again, he was on commentary. He was freaking out. He was just furious. He was incensed by this. And he said, he ranted that Logan had signed a pre-knuck. Yeah. It's a terrible dad joke, but that's what he said. But I think Cole, I think Michael's, isn't he like 60? Or almost 60? He doesn't look it. But it makes sense that he would do a dad joke. Logan's friend, it was Jeff. What did I call him? I said it was Jeff. Didn't I say that was his name? Yeah, I like that better. We'll call them Beavis and Butthead. How about that? That's Logan Paul's friends. So anyway, Cody's in a bad way now. Now, you guys are too much. You guys are too much. Cole stood up, and now he is shouting at Logan for using the knucks after claiming that he wouldn't, and he called Logan Paul a loser. This man is the United States champion. He calls him a loser. So rightfully, Logan Paul said, man, I've just been punked out. My punk card has been pulled here on pay-per-view by Michael fucking Cole. I'm not going to stand for that. So he's making his way around the announce desk. He's going to go after Michael Cole. Corey Graves gets up, and he stands in the way. He stands between them. While all this is going on, Cody has recovered enough that he dives out of the ring onto Paul and then rolls him back inside. Cody now puts him in a figure 4 leg lock. And Logan is screaming, you're going to break my leg, you're going to break my leg, as he's reaching for the ropes. Breaks the hold. Logan rolls to the apron, hits Cody with a shoulder block through the ropes to create some separation. Logan went for a buckshot lariat that Cody avoided. Cody then came back with a Cody cutter and nailed it. Only got a near fall. Then Cody set up for, of all things, if I gave you a guess as to what move Cody Rhodes would be setting up for here in this match, I think if I gave you 10 chances, you would never guess the move that he was going to go for. But he went for, and I guess it kind of makes sense because they got Shane Helms as an agent or a producer in the back. So I wouldn't be surprised if they got together and he was like, hey, you know what I'm going to do tonight? I'm going to do a vertebreaker. That's right. That's right. It's the old homicide cop killer. So he went for a vertebreaker and he got him up in pin. There's a reason why this move is not used anymore. So he got him up for it and Logan countered into a crossroads. He used Cody's own move against him. And he gave him a crossroads, only got a near fall. Cody battled back, set up for crossroads himself. Logan avoided it and pushed Cody into the corner and then drove his shoulder into the injured ribs. So now Logan tosses Cody to the floor. And he goes over and he clears off the English announce desk. And then he placed Cody on top of the desk and then he joined him up on the desk. Logan set up for a pedigree. Cody fought out of it and hopped onto the barricade first and then went backwards to go for a Cody cutter, and he landed it. Table did not break, but he did hit the Cody cutter, which, by the way, is a terrible move for somebody who is dealing with injured ribs in the match. To voluntarily thrust himself backwards onto the announce desk. Very dumb. Very dumb move by Cody Rhodes here. Cody returned to the ring, and the referee was about to count Logan Paul out when Cody stopped the count. The count of 9. He stopped the count, said, no. We're not going to have any countouts here in this match. So now, Cody goes back to the floor, and he clears off the Arabic announce desk. Logan, though, drops Cody with a punch to the head, and then he places Cody on top of the announce desk. Cody now is all laid out, and Logan Paul goes to the top rope. And this guy has a bottle of Prime in his hand, and he is drinking from the bottle of Prime. And Logan Paul tosses the bottle away before flying through the air for a frog splash that puts Cody through the table. Now, we have seen him do this spot before. It's not the first time we've seen him do a frog splash from the top rope to the floor through a table. But it looked fantastic. I mean, the air time that he got on it, and what made it look even better is the way that they shot it. We got a 360-degree view just before he launched himself. And I don't know if it was a drone shot or not. It may not have been. You know, it could have been a camera on some kind of special mount or cables or something, but maybe it was a drone. Whatever kind of shot it was, it looked sensational. So this was a great spot. Logan throws Cody back inside, and then he goes up top and he performs another frog splash and only gets a near fall out of it. Now Logan is expressing great frustration. He picks up Cody and he screams, "I hate you." He made it very clear here that he does not like Cody Rhodes.
Look at Richie Rich over here dropping all this money on
Oh, I
you.
like
Hey,
this, though.
I just want you to know,
This I
I
like.
think you rock. I don't mean the rock, a rock, you rock. And I just wanted you to know that.
Oh my God, it is Fahad with a $120 super chat drop live here on YouTube. Enjoyed the show live and here for the review. Shout out, he says, to Fawaz. Hell yeah, man. I gave him a shout out right at the very beginning. I'll give him another one now. Shout out to Fahad and Fawaz. The two-man power trip. I love it. There you go, man. Fahad, thank you for the $120 bomb. That is awesome. Logan Paul is throwing body shots now at Cody Rhodes. And then he ran him into the corner and he charged at him, but Cody caught him with a kick. Cody then tried to whip Paul across the ring. Logan reversed it and Cody collides with the referee. Now the referee, he bumps, but he's still upright. It looked like he connected, but not totally on it, right? The referee's still standing there. But now Logan Paul, he comes in for a splash. Cody moves, and poor Ryan Tran, he took the full brunt here of this splash. And you know what that means? Ref bump. And you know what that means? Fuckery was afoot. So Cody finally got him up for the vertebreaker, and he hit it. It looks safe as that move can be, but he hits the vertebreaker. Now he covers him. But there's no referee. And the fans are counting along. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No referee, though. Got the visual pin, though. Cody goes to check on the referee. He's telling him, come on, Ryan, get up. We've got to finish this. That's right. This man has to finish his story. This is a new story. The new story is to beat Logan Paul in a completely random match that had absolutely no build whatsoever. It was just thrown out there and announced. That story is what he has to finish. So Cody turned his attention back to Logan, who caught him with a low blow. Logan pulled the brass knucks out of his tights, waited for Cody to stand up. But then from outside the ring, we see Ibrahim Al-Hajjaj reach in. The Saudi comedian and actor I mentioned who did the ring intros, he was still out there. And so he reaches in and he grabs a hold of Logan Paul's foot to prevent him from being able to attack Cody. Logan kicks him away, and then he looks down at him and he goes, "Who the hell are you?" Which would have been my question too. "Who the hell are you?" he says. And then he turns around, Logan does, tries to punch Cody with the knucks. Cody blocks it and then hits Logan with not one, not two, but 3 consecutive crossroads. Now, he pins him and he retains the title. I don't think that Logan Paul, Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, I could see. Logan Paul is not somebody who should necessitate 3 straight Crossroads. If your finish is not good enough that you can beat people with it once, then you need a new finish. And I just don't think that Logan Paul, yes, he's the US champion and all that. Who cares? Logan Paul should not have fallen to 3 Crossroads. 1 should have been enough. It's a minor annoyance, but that's how I feel. There are a certain few select elite members of the roster that's okay. But honestly, even then, does it need to be 3? Even Randy Orton in the King of the Ring final here hit the RKO twice. The second time, he wasted no time, went for a cover. Gunther kicked out, totally no-sold it. Because then he hooked him into the pin, and it was like it never even happened. It's just stuff like that. It's a minor thing, I guess, but it kind of bothers me. But anyway, he pins him, and he retains the title. After the match, Cody went to ringside and thanked Ibrahim for his help, and he raised his arm. This was an excellent match. This was another in a long line of excellent matches that Cody Rhodes has had. This was another in a long line of excellent matches that Logan Paul has had. I thought he was fantastic here. The outcome was never in doubt, and it was much better for them to keep this just for the WWE title and not title for title, because there's no need for Cody to have the US title right now. I just think that's completely unnecessary. When somebody finally beats Logan Paul, SummerSlam, when somebody finally beats him for that belt, it should be a standalone big deal on its own. What does Cody Rhodes gain from beating him and taking the US title? Nothing. So they teased it at first, but then they said, no, it's only for the one title. And I'm glad they did that, because that was the right move. So that what now happens going forward is that should clear the way, again, putting my booking cap on here, that should clear the way now for Logan Paul to defend the United States title at SummerSlam in Cleveland against LA Knight. Now for Cody Rhodes, that's the bigger question. Because as I have been saying, Cody Rhodes does not have a great assortment of challengers that are ready to challenge him right now for the Undisputed title. He's already beaten AJ Styles. They could have gotten 2 matches out of it. They opted for 1. Now he beat Logan Paul. No need for a rematch. Who else is in the running, you would say, right now, potentially, for a shot at the title? Well, Randy Orton would have to be at the top of that list. If they do it, the earliest that they do it, I think, would be SummerSlam. I just don't see it happening before that. Assuming that that's the case, he needs at least one other person in the meantime, because Clash of the Castle is coming up, Money in the Bank is coming up. What do? And I keep going back to Solo Sikoa. And I don't want that. I do not want to see Cody Rhodes back yet with the Bloodline. I do not want to see Solo Sikoa wrestling Cody Rhodes in a main event on a PLE for the WWE Championship. I have no interest in that. None. So I hope to God that's not what they have in mind. Somebody mentioned Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley is a babyface right now, kind of, I guess. They tried to turn him heel, but people like him too much. It didn't really work. Cody and Lashley, yeah, I could see that as a possibility. I could see that. But again, you go beyond that. Kevin Owens is on the roster. LA Knight is on the roster. LA Knight, no. LA Knight, no. That would be a big mistake to do babyface against babyface with him and Cody. You do Logan and LA Knight. That's the SummerSlam match. Keep Logan Paul away from the title if he's not going to win it. He can't afford to keep losing. He's got to win at some point. And if he's not going to win the title, this title, he should win the other one. Kevin Owens is a babyface. Could he always go heel? Sure. You could turn him. You could do Owens and Cody. I actually think Owens and Cody would make for a hell of a match. But I don't get the impression that they plan on turning Kevin Owens. So you don't have a lot of great options right now. I'm very curious to see what they will do come Friday night. Who they tease. Carmelo Hayes, he's too new, and he already got beat by Cody a few weeks ago. What has he done to earn a shot at the title? He went into the King of the Ring and he fucking lost to Randy Orton. He beat Baron Corbin, and he lost to Randy Orton. So no, Carmelo Hayes is not going to be in the running, and you can name a bunch of other people on that roster, Santos Escobar or whoever. No. The options right now for him are few and far between. All roads ultimately, no pun intended, all roads lead to Randy Orton. That should be your SummerSlam match for the WWE Championship. Assuming The Rock is not coming back and wrestling at SummerSlam because he's too busy or he's too good for SummerSlam, Cody and Orton is the way to go. Overall, I thought that this was an excellent show. Very newsworthy show. I'd say very. It was a newsworthy show. More so than a lot of the other Saudi shows have been in the past. Again, we have a King and Queen of the Ring. They will now go on to SummerSlam. We have a new Women's World Champion. There were some announcements made by Triple H here on this show. So I thought that it was an easy thumbs up effort here from WWE. And I see people still mentioning AJ Styles. Now, I should mention that there was a segment on SmackDown last night. AJ said he was going to confront Nick Aldis this week. He was going to go to his office and talk to him about his future. He did confront Nick Aldis last night. And what he wanted to know is whether Aldis was willing to give him another crack at the WWE title. That's really what he wants. He says, I don't have a lot of time left. I need to win that title again before I call it quits. And he made a compelling case. And yet Nick Aldis said, no, we don't do that around here. You have to earn it. And AJ kind of walked off and it was left unresolved, which left me with two thoughts on the AJ Styles situation. Number one, AJ is going to potentially ask for and be traded to Monday Night Raw. And I talked a little bit about this on Monday with what Braun Breaker did on Monday. I mean, he was wrecking shit on Monday night. The way he killed Cale Dixon, may he rest in pieces. The way he killed him, and then even attacking Ricochet in the back. So obviously we're going to get a match with Breaker and Ricochet, but that doesn't mean that ultimately Adam Pearce, if he feels like he can control this man, doesn't put his head together with Nick Aldis and say, look, you had him before, I can't control him. And Aldis says, well, it's funny, I have somebody here who kind of wants out, and so why don't we work something out where we trade Braun Breaker for AJ Styles? I'm not saying it's going to happen, I'm just saying I floated that as a possibility on Monday. Stupid as it would be to have Breaker go from SmackDown to Raw back to SmackDown. So either AJ gets traded or AJ is going to attack Nick Aldis. And that could be the way to get Nick Aldis in the ring for his first WWE match, and we get Aldis against AJ Styles. I actually think the trade idea is more likely. And Nick Aldis is also still recovering, if you recall, from a torn bicep. He had surgery. So I'm not sure exactly how long he is still going to be recovering from that for. Those look like the only two reasonable scenarios to me right now. Either a trade or he attacks the GM. So either one of those does not involve him being an opponent for Cody Rhodes. So you can cross him off the list. It looks like it's just not going to happen. Let's take a look at the poll. What did you think of King and Queen of the Ring 2024? 74.3% thumbs up, 17% thumbs in the middle, and 8.6% thumbs down. Yeah, I mean, quality-wise, I don't see how this was a thumbs down show, but I am in the camp with all the thumbs up folks. To me, this was an easy thumbs up effort here. But I know some people don't watch the Saudi show, so some people may just vote down anyway. But if you saw the show and want to chime in and let me know what you thought, at Solomonster on X, that's where you can find the poll, and you can go ahead and vote. It's just that simple. That's how you do it. And now let's get to your Super Chats. You see the little crown I put there on the Sound Off logo? We are the king. That's why, because we are the king of podcasts. So that's why that crown is there. And you know how else I know that? Because I saw my sign and my logo up there for half the show. And it so annoyed WWE that they actually took it away. Shout out to Fawaz, though. That was awesome. That was the highlight of the night for me. Was seeing that sign all over the place on the show. That was very cool. Hit that like button, by the way, if you have not already done so. I sure would appreciate it. Try to get those likes up. We're currently sitting at 450 likes, so thank you guys for that. All right, let's start with our early folks here. And we're going to kick things off here with the real CS02. He came in before I went live with a $9.99 to say, don't know if you had time to catch up on SmackDown from last night, but I think the angle they are doing with AJ on SmackDown will lead to him attacking Nick. Well, there you go. Attacking Nick Aldis, leading to the ladder's first match. It's got to be one of those two. It's got to be. It's got to be a trade, or he's going to just fucking snap. because he's so obsessed with getting another shot at that title, and Aldis is the one who will not give it to him, that he may just snap and go crazy and attack him. The Winston Slip also came in with a super chat. Who should have been WWF champion? Rick Rude, Mr. Perfect, or Jake the Snake Roberts? I think of those three, I would have gone with Mr. Perfect if I had to choose. Fire Panda, thank you very much, says, fight the power, free the sign. I think we had enough of the sign on that show. We got more than enough of it. Joseph Brooks with the $9.99. Hey, and by the way, the reason I'm not scrolling yet through the list is because the early ones don't show up in the list anymore. So I have to read them from a different list, and eventually we will catch up with this one. So just hang tight if you are watching this on the video. Joseph Brooks says, hey Solo, with all the great changes in WWE, do you think another small but great change is that the interviewers, commentators, and even ring announcers all have personality and are not like robots anymore? Yes. Yes. And that's very noticeable with Samantha Irvin. It's noticeable with Kayla Braxton. Absolutely, that's a positive change. Holiday 197, hey Solo, what are your thoughts on Minneapolis being announced as the host for SummerSlam in 2026? And on the pay-per-view being a 2-night event, is it a consolation prize predicting overseas WrestleMania that year? I'm going to get into that on the podcast tomorrow. The short answer is it is a consolation. It absolutely is a consolation prize for Minneapolis. That's why they announced it now. We don't even know where SummerSlam is going to be next year. So why do you think they announced it this early? To lock it in, to let the Minneapolis folks know, okay, we got you this time, because they had egg on their face, because they thought they were going to get WrestleMania. So you're right on that. And as far as everything else you mentioned, tune into 863. I will get into that more tomorrow, but hopefully that is the short answer for you. Omando, thank goodness Liv won so her fans can finally stop bitching and moaning. I really like how WWE is now announcing their pay-per-views in advance. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Thank you, Omando. Carlos Galvan with the $4.99. Is it me, or did Logan Paul wearing green look like an American version of Will Ospreay? Love the Solomonster sign shown all night. You know what? I didn't really think about that until just now. But even with his body type, and Logan Paul looks more ripped than Ospreay does, but just the body type and everything, I could see that. I could see a little bit of Ospreay in that. Crypto and Poker. The Rock will be champion going into Netflix. You're right. He's the people's champion. You're right. He's got his own title. That's all he needs. Prince Vegeta with the $9.99. So they're probably going to have Drew lose to Priest, and then there's no way Punk is losing his first singles match back. So back-to-back losses and big matches for McIntyre or Drew. I would not be so sure about McIntyre losing to Punk in their first match. Why do you think that it's a foregone conclusion? The way that Punk has been screwing with him, Punk's been getting all the heat on this guy. If he goes in there and screws Drew McIntyre out of a title win in his home country, you don't think there's a chance that Drew McIntyre wins the first match? You really think they're only going to have one match? Drew McIntyre can absolutely beat CM Punk in their first match. And honestly, if it were me, that's the finish I book. I don't have CM Punk beat Drew McIntyre because then it's over. Drew McIntyre should beat CM Punk when they have their first match. So I don't think it's far-fetched at all. That's exactly the finish I would book. Darth J, who wins at WrestleMania if Brock did face Gunther? Well, hopefully Gunther. I would hope. Especially if the Intercontinental title was on the line, Gunther. The fuck does Brock Lesnar need that for? Eddie K. Loved how Gunther refused to put the crown on his head. I bet he knew exactly how silly he would look. Well, look, I mean, if they wanted him to put the crown on his head, he would have put the crown on his head. I assume it was done that way on purpose. But yes, he would have looked silly. Arabian Night got a feeling on Monday the title match could be Becky's swan song. She has done everything and faced everyone. AEW would be new matchups and working less. She's not going to AEW. I can't say it enough ways. I can't say it enough ways. Becky Lynch is not going to AEW. And I know that there are probably people who said the same thing about Adam Copeland and other people, but I don't see that, not even a 5% chance of that happening. I just don't see it. And now we're caught up to the list here because we got Alex with the $22 Roman Reigns super chat. Says, yet another excellent title defense, if not better than the AJ Styles match from Cody. Yet the toxic IWC will call him boring and just won't enjoy the product. Oh my. It's the flying cow. There it is. Lyra's flying cow. The $28 drop from Based Beerus. Let me go back to Alex though here. Alex says the IWC will call him boring and just won't enjoy the product, which is hotter than ever without complaining. Thank you, Solo. Well, people can complain about whatever they want to, but if you are of the opinion that Cody can't go out there and have great matches, then I don't know what the fuck you're watching. Hey, Bobbert Reviews had no message, but he dropped an $80 drop on me earlier. That's the new $80 super chat. Hey, Bobbert, thank you very much. I appreciate that. The Real CS with the $9.99. Was hoping this Uncle Howdy stuff paid off tonight because I, for one, am starting to get tired of this QR stuff. It's starting to play itself out. It's either Clash at the Castle or just end it. It's like when you double dip the chip. Yeah, just take one dip and end it. Have to be a Seinfeld fan to get that reference. Ty Arts with the $6. Gunther is the Austrian William Regal. Submissions, technical and clinical. Agree or disagree, and your favorite Bobby Lashley match. Yeah, I mean, Gunther, look, I kind of look at him as the modern day Gunther. I don't really compare him to anybody, but I think that you can make comparisons with his style and Regal style. They're like punishing in-ring style. I think you could make those comparisons. But I look at him as his own entity, his own man. I don't really compare him to anybody else. He's so unique compared to anybody else that you would see in wrestling today. Favorite Bobby Lashley match? I don't know. Boy. I don't know that there's one that off the top of my head really stands out to me. He's had some good matches. Has there ever been that one WWE Bobby Lashley match that made me go, holy shit, that was fucking amazing? I don't think so. And I'm not trying to knock him because I like Bobby. But I don't know. I don't know that I have one that I could really name for you. Ty Arts, wow, he really dropped a whole bunch of them here, didn't he? Who's better and why, Rhea Ripley or Chyna? Rhea Ripley, just a matter of personal preference. Rhea Ripley is a better wrestler than Chyna, so therefore she's better. Dolph Ziggler or Mr. Perfect. Both very talented, but I'm a Mr. Perfect guy. And Cody Rhodes or Drew McIntyre. Both great in their own way. Again, who's better? What the hell does that even mean, really? But if I had to pick somebody right now, I mean, who's better? At the moment, I'd go Drew McIntyre. Ty also says, Kevin Owens got the career Mr. Kennedy should have had. Two similar dudes. Kennedy is better, in my opinion. Agree or disagree? Hard disagree. I could not disagree more with what you just said. Kennedy is better than Kevin Owens? Not on this planet, he's not. You and I will have to agree to disagree on that. Ty says, erase one from history. Rock versus Austin from WrestleMania 17. Cody versus Roman Reigns from WrestleMania 40. Undertaker Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 25. Or Bret and Austin from WrestleMania 13. Always a pleasure. Appreciate you. I appreciate you as well, Ty. And that's a very difficult one that you just posed to me here. But I'm going to erase Rock and Austin from WrestleMania 17. I'm sorry. It's gotta go. Ty also says, and the worst wrestling theme song of all time is. It probably, I don't know what it is, but it probably has Def Rebel attached to it. Alberto Del Dipshit or Flop Dollar, who's better and why? And best debut match for a wrestler in WWE history, in your opinion? I always go back to Taz. I think Taz's debut against Kurt Angle in Madison Square Garden was just, I mean, you couldn't write a more perfect debut for someone. Alberto or Flop Dollar, you know what? Flop Dollar doesn't he doesn't abuse people, so he automatically wins. And he's not flopping anymore either. I just called his match last night at the House of Glory show, and that was probably as good as he's ever looked. Honestly. It was a trios match, but he ain't flopping no more. I'm gonna go with Top Dollar over Alberto. David Thering with the $50 Gunther bomb from earlier. I saw the Solomonster sounds off signs multiple times during this PLE and thought of you. Well, who else would you think of? Surprised me a little bit that it wasn't taken away. Oh, well, it just came in a little too quickly. Hoping we will see more of that in the future. Keep up the great work. Well, Fawaz and other people over there as well, they're always trying to look out for me. They're all, they're just so loyal and dedicated to the show, and it never ceases to amaze me, the things that they are able to pull off and how they get these things on camera. I'll never know. But I am very grateful for it. I very much enjoy seeing it. It makes my day. So, David, thank you very much. Orioles Peak. Haven't watched WWE since WrestleMania, but just wanted to stop by to say bow down to the Queen and future champion. So much for Nia being a bad sign. So, Orioles Peak. Big Nia Jax fan. Yeah, Daddy Ugarte, he was at the show last night. And at one point, AJ Francis hit a choke slam. I think it was on Encore. But, man, that choke slam, I felt that one. I was sitting a little away, but I felt that one. Naughty Moo Cow. Solo is my king of the ring. All hail King Solo. If I would have known, I would have taken the crown out. I think I still have it in the closet somewhere. From Halloween. Dead Film Society TV. Thanks for the shout out. I think we need Sami and Gable best of 7 series. It's been a while for the stipulation. I wouldn't mind it. I don't think I would do it though, just because we already had Gable and Sami in the ring twice. And so to now start a best of 7, I think it would just be too much. I think people would get tired of it. But we definitely need to get them in the ring and with a stip. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Skywalker, what caught you more by surprise? The Perk Gable sign in the audience or the Solomonster sounds off sign? Obviously the Solomonster sign because I didn't even see the Perk Gable sign. I was so laser focused on that one. Until you just mentioned it, I didn't even notice it. Magnificent Matt with the $5. Buy or sell, better one-night performance, Bret Hart, King of the Ring 93, or Kurt Angle, King of the Ring 01, Bret Hart 93. Come on. Now, I'm not going to take anything away from Kurt, because he had King of the Ring matches against Christian and Edge, and he had that great street fight against Shane McMahon. And he took a fucking beating during that match. But the Bret thing at the first King of the Ring, it was just even from a story perspective with the injured fingers and everything, and that Bret Perfect match, I love that match more than their SummerSlam match. It's just great. It's just something that I don't think can ever be duplicated. My cat is a demon with these $6. Unrelated to this show, what is going on with LA Knight? The guy got himself immensely over, loses everything he ever goes after. Have you heard anything as to the why? No, I just think it's the Triple H thing of, all good things come to those who wait. And I think he's going to win the U.S. title at SummerSlam, and hopefully he doesn't cool off before then, but I think that feud with Logan Paul is just what he needs. The back and forth on the mic between the two. He goes on to wrestle Logan and wins the title, he'll be in good shape. It's just getting him there. He's hit a lot of bumps in the road. Although they did give him that WrestleMania win over AJ Styles, so they put him over there at least. But yeah, they have not done a whole hell of a lot with him, and they've dropped the ball on him in a way for many months now. He's still over. Despite that, he's still over. But I think they're waiting for the US title match. Prince Vegeta says, one reason to forget King of the Ring 94, Art Donovan. Oh my God, I forgot about that, yes. How much does this guy weigh? Hey, Gorilla, they have the big guy in there with the little guy. That doesn't seem very fair. How much does this guy weigh? It's a good thing that they didn't really have women's wrestling back then in WWE. Not like they do now, or else you'd have Art Donovan on commentary. How much does she weigh? Holy crap, look at Nia Jax. How much does she weigh? You don't ask a woman that question, believe me. Art Donovan would have got the fucking denture slapped right out of his mouth. OM Too Cool. The Rock has got some footage of his own. Also says, Brother Solo, have you seen this stupid take that when Triple H comes out to the ring to raise the winner's hands that he makes it about himself? Are there people saying that? Because I try not to pay attention. No, Triple H did not take away from those moments. He literally put the crown on this woman's head. And everybody knows that Triple H is running the show now. I mean, they literally have called it the Paul Levesque era. They wouldn't shut up about it at WrestleMania this year. So we know he's the man in charge. And the only appearance that he made on this show, well, he made 3 technically, because he made the announcement in the back later on. Him coming out, though, to present the crowns makes sense to me, because he's the guy. And so he is presenting the crown to the winners. He didn't cut a promo. We didn't get the classic 15-minute rambling Triple H promo as the King and Queen stood in the background and just watched and observed. To me, that's just people looking for something to complain about. You can complain about different things. You can complain about the finish to the Orton and Gunther match and this, that, and the other, but no. Triple H did not make it about himself. Mr. 201, with the $10 super chat, says, do you think the winners of the King and Queen of the Ring should have full authority as a king or queen as the King and Queen should? They can challenge for titles or interject themselves into any match for any brand for the year. No. That's a terrible idea. But thank you for the love, Mr. 201. You know me, I mean, you ask me a question, I give you a blunt answer. I don't like that idea. I think the way they did it is perfect. The way they did it is the way it should be done. Bobby's World, kind of glad you brought up the lack of great King of the Ring finals. Even Owen against Razor in 94 was okay and not great. And keep in mind also, you go back, it's not like work rate was really a big deal in WWE for a number of those tournament finals. In some of them, they were telling a story about an underdog. I mentioned 95 with Savio and Mabel, stuff like that. I think Savio was a fill-in. Who did he fill in for? Somebody got hurt. Razor maybe got hurt. I forgot. But, it's true. If you look back at the history of that tournament from 93 on, take a look at those finals. They're not great. They're really not. And even the ones that are good, they're good, but they're not great. There's nothing memorable about them. David Thering with another $10 super chat. Let me bounce this creative idea off of you. Drew wins World Heavyweight title at Clash. Priest wins it back at Money in the Bank after Punk screws Drew. Punk versus Drew. Gunther versus Priest at SummerSlam. What are your thoughts? No, I don't like it because it just you're getting back to the same spot that you would anyway. Like, it's just completely unnecessary. If you want, you can do whatever you're going to do at Clash without having to bounce the belt back and forth. For a moment there, I thought you were going to say that Drew wins the World Heavyweight title at Clash, Priest wins Money in the Bank again, and then cashes in that night and wins the championship back. And even that, it'd be kind of wild if they did that, but even that, I'm not really a fan of that. So I don't think it's necessary. I don't know. It just seems like it's kind of overcomplicating things for no reason. It's an interesting idea. I just don't think it's necessary though. Arabian Night, I wish the IC title match went longer than 12 minutes. Yeah, I mean, it could have gone a little bit longer, but I mean, what we got was great. I really can't complain about that match. Fahad, enjoyed the show live and here for the review. Shout out to Fawaz. Hey, Fahad, thank you for the $120 super chat bomb. Love it. Alex, Brother Solo, are there any other production or presentation changes that you would like to see WWE make? They've made quite a few that I like. One that I always go back to, and this is one of those old school things they used to do that I think would still be very effective today, is when they would do promos in the back, especially on pay-per-views, they had this one static, like just kind of like hard cam shot. Let's say Mean Gene was the interviewer. And you had that one shot, and the guy or whoever would walk in, and they would just shoot it a certain way where you had this one consistent shot, but then every now and then the guy would look over to the side. It'd be like another camera, and they get a close-up shot of the guy's face, and he's looking directly into the camera. And then they cut back to the main camera. But just go back and watch any of those old school, like Sean Mooney, Mean Gene promos in the backstage area. Remember the ones they had the fake set where you would see like a set of lockers in the background? Like, I miss that. That's the sort of thing I would like to see more of, and it's not going to impact their product in any way. It will not make them any more money, any less money. It's just, again, it's a thing that I had always liked, and I wish that the promos, the way they're shot like that in the back, would still be done that way. So if I had to throw one idea at you, that would be it. It's a minor thing, but I miss the way they used to do those. Bobby's World, I thought the same thing about the number of crossroads that Cody used here. 3 times on Roman at Mania? Cool. Makes sense. Not here. You and me both. Base Beerus, Rock is only ever wrestling at Mania. Final boss. I think you may be right. That's why everybody talking about War Games 4-on-4. You really think Rock is coming back for a match at Survivor Series? I don't. OM Too Cool, have you heard of the JR AI entrance themes on YouTube? Yeah, my brother showed it to me. Singing the different, I think he sang Randy Orton's theme and some of the other themes, yeah. Some of them don't even sound like him, if I'm being honest. Some do. Some of them don't even really sound like him, though. Abu Sika. All hail King Booker. Key. Oh, I see what you did there. All hail King Bukaki. Yes, okay, I see it now. Very good. Thank you, Abu Sika. Jesus fucking Christ. Base Beerus God of Seduction with a $28, you know, you guys, unbelievable. $28 super chat from Base Beerus. When's the last time we had AEW and WWE pay-per-views in the same weekend? Probably more recently than I recall. Thanks for another great stream. That's a nice belt in the background. Will we get a Netflix title soon in WWE? Yeah, there it is, the Solomonster belt. We had the sign in the crowd. I had to get the belt up. So there it is on the wall behind me. A Netflix title? No, I hope not. I don't think we need a Netflix title. We have got... Oh, and the last time that there was an AEW and WWE pay-per-view in the same weekend would have been probably Labor Day weekend last year, I guess, right? When they had All Out. Or did they have a show? Did WWE have a show Labor Day weekend, or am I thinking of 2022? I might have been thinking about 2 years ago, because there was no Clash of the Castle last year. It's been a while. It's been a little while. Samuel Hayworth. If he's fit again, how about Rollins as a Cody foe? If Becky is taking time off, he can do the switch. And Cody owes Seth. Yeah, but for what? For Seth to lose? Again? To Cody? Seth's on Raw anyway, so I don't see that happening. Arabian Night, the way with AJ could be title versus career at Money in the Bank. If AJ continues to do things to try to convince Nick Aldis, eventually he may have to cave, and maybe. But AJ, I don't think is ready to hang it up, so how do you do that finish? You really think they're going to put the title on him? Chris Fatlander, or Fatlander, Jesus Christ. You know, I look over sometimes in the way I read these things. Chris Fatlander says, I have no idea what that, I don't know what you're saying there, but thank you for the super chat. And thank you for the laugh. Base Beer, how you feeling about Swerve's title reign? Still early. I'm not overly impressed. It's not his fault. This is his first pay-per-view challenger, so got to give it a little more time here. I mean, he has not been champion for very long, but I would like to see him get a little more attention than he's getting right now. I think it's safe to say. Base Beerus, buy or sell, Canyon or D'Lo? You and Sid are the man. I'm glad you put that in there, you know, just to show some love for Psycho Sid. Canyon or D'Lo? I'm a D'Lo guy. Canyon was very talented though, very underrated I think in many ways. But I'm a D'Lo Brown guy, man. I mean, if I tried to whip my head back and forth the way he does, I would ruin my neck. So I'm not going to do it. But D'Lo was the shit, man. D'Lo with the chest protector. TK Banks says, Chris Fatlander against Liv Morgan at Forbidden Door. What a match. What a match that would be, huh? And Base Beerus says, just noticed the crown on the solo graphic. Well, what gave it away? Was it the fact that I literally mentioned it when I switched over to this slide? The Real CS says, I fully expect WWE and Saudi to renew their current deal well before it expires. Don't see either side not wanting to continue the relationship. Why would they? When you get $50 million per show, $100 million a year, why the hell would you want to end the relationship if you're WWE? Of course they're going to continue. We have got Arabian Night. Buy or sell on the biggest what if? Velveteen Dream or Magnum TA? Velveteen Dream. Because I don't know that it was really much of a what if about Magnum TA. I think most people kind of accepted the fact that he would have been NWA champion. I don't think too many people doubted that. Velveteen Dream never really had the chance. He never made the main rosters. So to me, that makes him the bigger what if. But then again, you could also argue, see, I'm looking at it wrong though. Because you could also argue that, okay, yeah, Magnum TA would have won the NWA title, but could Magnum have had a run working for Vince in WWE? In that case, if you expand it out to that, then I guess I could say Magnum TA may have been the bigger what if. Because that would have been interesting. I don't know that Vince McMahon would have really booked him as a top guy, though. I feel like he would have brought him in. And I could see Magnum TA as like an Intercontinental champion.
Row Roman Reigns gently down the street.
But I don't see him ever being WWE champion.
Row Roman Reigns gently down the street.
Oh, it's Fawaz again. Look at this, man. Holy crap. Fawaz. Where is he at? $22. I'll get to him in a second. Prince Vegeta, have you ever seen Starship Troopers? It's one of my favorite sci-fi movies. If not, I recommend it. I have not. And I know I am definitely going to have to check that out at some point. Was Starship Troopers the... oh, that might have been the third in the Paul Verhoeven trio, right? Because it's RoboCop, Total Recall, and is it Starship Troopers? Because I love Paul Verhoeven and like RoboCop and Total Recall, so I think that might be the third one. I definitely have to check that out. TK Banks, looks like we are going to get Gunther and Randy Part 2 after Triple H addressed the controversy. So did he? Okay. Oh, I have not seen the press conference yet, so that's why I asked the question before, if there were any updates on that. Bobby's World, if Cody ever faces Rock, he's going to need 6 crossroads, a rock bottom, a brandy distraction, and a steel chair to win. Probably right. Channel 1107. Dom versus Rhea at WrestleMania 41. No. Did he do Total Recall too? Yeah, I'm pretty sure Total Recall is Verhoeven, I think. Bobby's World. Oh my God, Faplander killed Solomonster. Well, I've brought myself back to life here to read these final super chats. Fawaz with the $22. Well, I'm hopeful. Wait, hold on. I hope I have made you proud, man. This must be like autocorrect here. Oh, I see. Okay, this might be my last show attending because I moved to Riyadh after got a job, so a lot of responsibilities unless it's WrestleMania, so I said this sign means so much to me that it has to be with me. Well, Fawaz, I shouted you out earlier, and I will shout you out again now that you are here. I very much am indebted to you for that, because everybody saw it, and it meant a lot to see. And really, every show that you are able to do that, it's awesome. You know, and you've seen, I've made it the sign, you know, the banner in the Facebook group before. So hopefully you get to attend more shows. If this is the end of the road, I mean, what a show to end on. So I thank you. And I'm glad that it means as much to you as it does to me. But right there, man, that right there, that's a fan. That's what you call some loyal dedication right there. And he always knows exactly where to get it to. Like dead center, hard camera. You can't beat that. I am curious, though, did they give you the sign back after, or is it just gone forever? I would hope that you were able to get it back, but I don't know. Brandon Vasquez with Money in the Bank not too far away. And with tonight's winners already getting title matches, do you think there are too many gimmick matches and stipulations giving out too many title matches so close together? Probably, yeah, I think so. I think it makes more sense to do Money in the Bank at a different time and have King and Queen of the Ring closer in proximity to SummerSlam if this is the way it's going to be. You know, even if you swap Money in the Bank and King and Queen of the Ring, they're still very close together. But I think that's the way to go in the future if they're going to continue to do that. David Thering, Chris Faplander against Mercedes Monet. You guys are having fun with this, I see. Kentucky Fried Chicken without flavor. My Money in the Bank winners are Tiffany Stratton and The Rock. The Rock steals Brock Lesnar's idea. Wow. So how about that? Tiffany Stratton, I've been calling Tiffany Stratton for Money in the Bank for a couple of months now. If she doesn't win Money in the Bank, then I don't know what the fuck Triple H is thinking. That briefcase has her name written all over it. She's going to get the pink briefcase. SMC Fee 101. Hey, Solomonster. Looking forward to listening to the full review. Had to work, but making the live stream for my lunch. All hail King Gunther. Thank you very much, SMC. Enjoy your lunch. And Fawaz with the $5. I hope you loved the sign. It doesn't feel right going to the show without your sign. Thank you, man, for everything. I hope I made you proud. You did, brother. You did. I really hope they gave it back to you, but I don't know. I don't know how it works. If they just take it and throw it away, or if they hold it for you, I don't know. But no, it means a lot. It really does. And everybody in the chat saw it, so thank you, brother. Very much appreciated. All love. So right now we are standing currently at 500 plus likes, which is awesome. So let's be the booker and get on out of here, shall we? Let's be the booker.
Ladies and gentlemen,
all hail Gunther.
To be the booker.
There he is in all of his glory. The king himself. Be the booker here on a Saturday evening, man. I got to get out of here so I can have some dinner. And then, you know what I'm doing tonight? I'm working because I have to prepare for episode 863. That's what I'm doing. So let's see here. We begin tag team Be the Booker with Doom, Teddy Long, and we got Ron Simmons, and we got the natural Butch Reed. Look at these guys. Remember when Doom had masks on in WCW? Who are we booking tonight? What are we doing here? Who is Doom getting into the ring? What kind of match can we book? Doom against... Oh, good Lord. Come on, man. Come on, man. You're going to put Doom in the ring with Tyler Breeze and Fandango? That's a no. That's a no from me, dog. You need time to date Solomon. I need time to date Solomonster. Why do I want to date him? He's annoying. I would never date Solomonster. All right, women's Be the Booker. Here we go. We got Miss Jacqueline. I saw more of Jacqueline than I ever thought I would on that one UK pay-per-view they did. You know the one I'm talking about. All right, it's going to be Jacqueline, former WWF Women's Champion, going one-on-one with Mercedes Martinez. I have a feeling that would be a hard-hitting match. I do. I think those women would mix it up nicely. And now we come to the main event, Men's Be the Booker. I'm going to crack some knuckles here. There you go. Well, that wasn't great, but here we go. Men's Be the Booker. Let's not waste any time here. We have Shingo Takagi. Look at that. With the butterfly belt. Why would you change from the best title design that you've ever had to anything else? Whether it's this one or another one, I've never understood that. Who was clamoring for a change in the IWGP belt? Still bothers me. But Shingo Takagi is awesome, man. So this is going to be a great main event. I don't even think it matters who it's against. I think this is a winner no matter what. Shingo Takagi going to go one-on-one with Kenny Omega. Ooh, yes, yes. I don't know what happened there. I got so excited, I went right to the outro. I got so excited by that main event, I ended the stream. How about that, though? Kenny Omega and Shingo Takagi, that is one hell of a fucking main event right there. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. All right, not a bad Be the Booker. And, we could end up being the Booker again tomorrow night, but only if you guys bring the super chats and the likes. Otherwise, we're not going to do it. It's going to be a late night tomorrow. And you know why it's going to be a late night? It's going to be a late night because we have Double or Nothing. And it is the Double or Nothing review. It is Anarchy in the Arena, the Elite Battles Team AEW. I hope you enjoyed the thumbnail here. I had a lot of fun putting this together. I actually think this is one of the best thumbnails I've ever done. I love this. I loved it. I love the whole Vegas theme. So anyway, hope you enjoy that, and I hope you enjoy the review. That'll be coming up tomorrow night, so you'll want to be here as soon as the pay-per-view is over. I don't know, it'll probably be after midnight. You know how these AEW pay-per-views go. That will be taking place tomorrow, so hopefully you will join me then. We still got some super chats, though. We're not even done. We still got some more here. So we have Kentucky Fried Chicken. Nia Jax landed on the apron and screaming like Tom from Tom and Jerry. I was waiting to see if she screamed my hole. Look, everyone, it's Samoa Bro. Samoa Bro was waiting for it as well, but there was no hole. West Coast James, Mr. Herrera. What's going on, man? He's been a channel member for 36 months. Shout out to James. Cameron Spencer. With the $4.99, rank these annoying fan bases. ICW fans, Yankee fans, MCW fans, Swift fans, Beyonce fans, Brady fans, and LeBron worshippers. Who is more toxic? I'm not going to rank them because that's far too many, but I will say Yankees fans, you can fuck off. Sincerely yours, a Mets fan. You know how much grief I've had to take from Yankees fans over the years? Every time the Mets suck, which is pretty much all the time. So I'm just going to go right to the Yankees fans. There you go. Dixie Enormous. 90% I have no idea what that is supposed to be, but thank you, brother. And thy name is Doogie. Just want to send some and thank you for your recaps and podcasts. Does that say, hold on a second. I think I may have read that wrong. I think that's an L. Not it could be an L. It looks like an I from where I'm looking at it right now. That could be thy name is Dougal. But I think it says thy name is Doogie. I guess take your pick. I kind of like Doogie a little bit more, to be honest with you. It reminds me of Doogie Howser, MD, which I used to watch when I was a kid. So, just want to send some love and thank you for your recaps and podcasts. Been listening to you since the TV Tracks days, and you are still the best wrestling podcast I listen to. Solomonster, killing the business. Killing the business, huh? I hope that's not an insult. No, man, brother, I appreciate that, and the $21 very much. Thank you, man. TV Tracks, that's taking me back, man. We're going back over a decade with that. I think it's Dougal like Google. Okay. I kind of like Doogie, but all right. We'll call it Thy Name is Dougal. Kentucky Dried Chicken says Queen Nia has the whole SmackDown kingdom in her hands. And Base Beerus, Tiffany could have a better first year than Angle and Brock. Oh, my goodness. The laughing gas is out today. No. No, she won't. She's going to have a great first year, but if you're going to compare it to Brock, if you're going to compare it to Kurt Angle, I mean, think of the people that Brock Lesnar beat in his first year. Come on, man. Who was around for Tiffany Stratton to beat that Brock Lesnar beat in his first? Do you know who Brock Lesnar beat in his first year? Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, The Undertaker, The Rock. If Vince McMahon had his way, he would have beaten Steve Austin on TV in a qualifying match. RVD, I mean, the list goes on. All the accomplishments as quickly as he did it. Tiffany Stratton is going to have a better first year than Brock Lesnar. Come on, man. The hyperbole. The hyperbole. Come on, man. You're smarter than that. She's going to have a great first year, though. You and I are in agreement on that. She's going to be Ms. Money in the Bank. I think she'll be a champion within the year. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys for hanging out with me on a Saturday afternoon. It is now Saturday evening. I hope you all go wherever you may be and have some grub, have some dinner. That's what I'm going to do. And tomorrow is episode A63, so you get the podcast and Double or Nothing. So it's going to be a late night. We got Anarchy in the Arena. Hopefully Darby Allin does not kill himself. Base Beer says Tiffy time. Oh, we got a Tiffy stand. That's what it is. Well, you know, it's like Gorilla Monsoon. Will you stop? I'm going to have you thrown out of here with comments like that. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hit that like button on the way out. Thank you for all the love. Thank you for all the new subs. Welcome to the channel. Enjoy your stay. It's going to be a busy weekend. And until next time, I will see you for episode A63. Take care, guys. You know, I gotta say, as I look in the chat and I see everybody, and I see Odyssey, and I see the comment from Odyssey, who says that Solomonster looks like Daniel Bryan. I have to tell you, Odyssey, I've never heard that one before. I've never heard anybody say to me that I look like Daniel Bryan or Jack Swagger or Orange Cassidy or any of these other people. You gotta come up with some original content, guys. Come on. You're killing me. Finn. That's it. We're done. You still here? Get out of here. What are you doing here? Go eat. That's what I'm gonna do.